right to go in. Why won't you let us in? Zhao Yiqing said. Among the three, a tall boy laughed. He looked down at Zhao Yiqing and said, "We're stronger than you. You're right, the academy allowed you in. But there's no rule that upperclassmen can't stop lowerclassmen." The people around them were also talking amongst themselves. They were all freshmen and sophomores. They were now stuck outside, and although they were indignant, there was nothing they could do. They were no match for the three men. At this moment, Tang Poyu didn't care about anything else and went straight inside. He had only taken 2 steps when he was shoved out. "Didn't you understand what we said? You can't come in." Tang Poyu looked at the 3 of them and said coldly, "It's none of my business if you block others, but we need to get in. Either move aside, or I'll make way for you." The 3 of them were stunned. They hadn't expected there to be such a brave person among the younger students. Was this guy courting death? Are you asking for a beating? Wait, he looks like Tang Poyu. At this moment, one of the 3 recognized Tang Poyu. Upon hearing the name Tang Poyu, the other 2 were also taken aback. Now, everyone in the academy knows the name Tang Poyu. Even if you've never met Tang Poyu in person, you've definitely heard his name. After all, the events at the start of the school year left a very deep impression. Let them go. Everyone says this guy is crazy. If you mess with him, who knows what he might do, someone said. The tall man frowned. With so many people watching, it would be embarrassing to let Tang Poyu and his group pass by so easily. After all, they were third-year students, and they would lose face if they backed down in front of freshmen. So what if Tang Poyu is awesome? He's just a freshman. I'm here today, so you're not getting in. Remember this. I'm Wang Jian from Class 3, Grade 3, the tall guy said. The next second, he summoned his summoned beast. That was a blazing bird with an epic bloodline, level 49. In fact, Tang Poyu didn't like dealing with summoned beasts that flew in the sky, since Tang Poyu himself didn't have the ability to fly. Want to fight? Who's afraid of who? Ho Fan said, then summoned his little fire turtle. After several months of training, the little fire turtle has reached level 20. Seeing this, Zhao Yiqing quickly summoned the 3-tailed fox, which was now level 22. The 2 girls with Zhao Yiqing did not summon their summoned beasts. At this point, they stepped aside, seemingly indicating they had no intention of getting involved. To put it bluntly, they were also afraid of getting themselves into trouble. After all, in their eyes, freshmen couldn't possibly beat third-year students. Thunderous roar. At that moment, Tang Poyu unleashed his thunder fury. Because the blazing bird doesn't seem to be paying attention to Tang Poyu right now, since no one expected Tang Poyu to suddenly attack. Therefore, this thunder strike hit the flame bird instantly. Kid, trying to ambush me? But my blazing bird is already level 49. Its defense is far beyond what a newbie like you can break. So it's fine if you attack first. Wang Jian said smugly, seemingly very confident in his summoned beast. After all, at level 49, in his view, a newly summoned beast was at most only level 20 or so, and a beast master would only receive level 10 attributes from their summoned beast. Therefore, Wang Jian didn't take Tang Poyu's attack seriously at all. With only level 10 summoned beast output, how much attack power could it possibly have? However, just as Wang Jian was feeling triumphant, the blazing bird let out a mournful cry, and the next second it landed directly on the ground. It was smoking and had already passed out. How could this be? My Blaziken. No, it can't be. It was instantly defeated. Wang Jian stared incredulously at the unconscious Blaziken on the ground. He couldn't believe it. Beastmasters only gained 10% of their summoned beast attributes. How could this guy possibly have deprived his level 49 blazing bird of its combat abilities in a single move? Was this guy even human? Zhao Yiqing was stunned for a moment, thinking to himself, has Tang Poyu become this strong? Is this the power of a divine beast? But how exactly does one control a divine beast? He really wanted to have a match with him sometime. Although he would definitely lose, he wanted to see the difference between them. Ha! Lao Tang, you are awesome. It's so much fun with Lao Tang. We don't even have a chance to make a move, Ho Fan said with a grin. At this moment, the 2 girls who had just been with Zhao Yiqing came over again and showered Tang Poyu with praise. Tang Poyu didn't bother with this. When the 2 girls were about to make a move, they would step aside and act as if it was none of their business. Now that the matter is resolved, they've come back with a shameless grin. Tang Poyu then said to Wang Jian, I spared your summoned beast's life, but it's seriously injured. My advice is to give up the exam, go outside, and take your summoned beast to get treatment. Otherwise, it might suffer long-term effects. Wang Jian gritted his teeth, wanting to say something, but ultimately didn't. He then recalled the unconscious blazing bird and left the scene. It seemed he intended to leave the secret realm, since an epic bloodline summoned beast was extremely rare for ordinary people, and he didn't want his summoned beast to suffer long-term effects from untreated injuries, which could impact its future strength. Then Tang Poyu looked at the other two and asked, "Do you want to continue?" No, please come in. Chapter 36, because my fist is hard. These two weren't fools. After all, in terms of strength, they were about the same as that guy from before. Tang Poyu and his companions then entered the secret realm. After crossing this simple stone gate, the scene before everyone's eyes changed dramatically once again. They had originally been on the island, but now they had come to a dense forest. Looking up at the sky, it appears purple, giving it an ethereal feel. "Remember this place. You'll have to leave through here when you need to," Tang Poyu said to the group. Tang Poyu and his companions then began exploring the area. The dense forest was vast, and it was easy to get lost. Therefore, they left a mark every so often to avoid losing their way back. There weren't many people around at the time, and Tang Poyu and his group walked for quite a while without encountering a single person. After all, the younger students were all stuck outside. "Old Tang, look, there's a box up ahead." Ho Fan, with his sharp eyes, spotted a box. Ho Fan excitedly ran over, opened it, and took a look. Wow, so many pills, and experience crystals too. Sure enough, once we got inside, there was a lot more stuff. Ho Fan exclaimed excitedly. "It seems this academy isn't too stingy," Tang Poyu said with a smile. "Let's split it among the three of us," Ho Fan said. The three people he mentioned were himself, Tang Poyu, and Zhao Yicheng. As for the two girls with Zhao Yicheng, Ho Fan simply ignored them. Ho Fan wasn't the kind of person who would blindly fawn over any girl he saw. Just before he came in, when he was about to fight with the third-year students, the two girls hid to the side. Seeing that the problem was solved, they eagerly followed. Ho Fan noticed this. So, now that the item had been found, naturally, there was no share for the two of them. However, the two girls were unhappy when they heard this. One of them said, "Monkey, have you forgotten about us? We're all in this together. Now that we've discovered these resources, we should get a share." Ho Fan chuckled coldly and said, "My name is Ho Fan. Monkey is what my brothers and friends call me. Yes, you're with us, but we didn't let you come along. What were you doing outside when we were about to fight the third-year students? You just hid to the side, and then you followed us after everything was settled. We're not going to let you have it so easy. Bringing you in was already generous enough. If you want resources, go find them yourselves." "What do you mean? We're Yicheng's best friends." Actually, Zhao Yicheng is also in an awkward position right now. To be honest, she doesn't quite agree with what the two girls did. When something happens, you two hide aside, acting like it's none of your business. But once the problem is solved, you two come running back, and now you want to share the resources. However, Zhao Yicheng couldn't say it directly, since they were all in the same class and will be studying together for the next 2 years. He couldn't afford to ruin their relationship. However, Zhao Yicheng also knew that these two were not qualified to share resources, so Ho Fan and Tang Poyu could not suffer any losses. So she said, "How about this? I won't take the resources. I'll give you my share." Upon hearing this, the two women immediately beamed with joy. "Yicheng is so much better. She truly is our good sister, unlike some others." As they spoke, the two women gave Ho Fan a disdainful look. However, at this moment, Tang Poyu said, "Zhao Yicheng, these resources are not yours either, so what are you going to give them?" Upon hearing this, Zhao Yicheng was slightly taken aback. "Hey Tang Poyu, what do you mean? Yicheng helped you guys out there just now." The two girls were slightly angry. Tang Poyu said, "What do you mean? This is a world where might makes right. Just like these third-year students, they have the power to keep the younger students out. And it's the same with me. I have the power, and if I find resources, I can monopolize them. If you're not convinced, settle it with your fists. You've gone too far. Yicheng, let's go." With that, the two girls grabbed Zhao Yicheng and tried to leave. They weren't stupid enough to fight Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu said, "You two can leave, but she can't. Our team needs a control-type character, and her three-tailed fox has control skills. So, she'll stay and work for us." "Why do I?" Tang Poyu asked. Zhao Yicheng asked. Tang Poyu laughed and said, "Because my fists are hard." Ho Fan chuckled. "Little Chung Chung, don't resist. If you work for us obediently, we'll give you some resources as compensation. If you don't agree, our old Tang is quite ruthless." "You guys are too domineering," the two girls said. "So what if I'm domineering? If you're not happy, let's settle this with our fists." Now get out of here, Ho Fan said. I'll remember you. We're going to find the people from Class 1. With that, the two girls turned and left. At this moment, Zhao Yicheng said speechlessly, Tang Poyu, Ho Fan, what are you doing? Tang Poyu replied, those two are too selfish. They're not worth getting close to. Let's go. Put the resources in your spatial storage item for now, and you and Monkey can split them equally when we get back. And what about you? Zhao Yicheng asked. Tang Poyu said, these basic resources are of little significance to us. Having them or not makes no difference. Hey, old Tang, how come you're so amazing? For others, signing a contract with Mingyu is completely useless. But for you, signing a contract with Mingyu is like taking off. Ho Fan said with a grin. Tang Poyu said, stop talking nonsense, let's go. Zhao Yicheng put the resources away. Zhao Yicheng nodded and stored the resources in her spatial storage item. They then continued their exploration. And so they stayed there for a day, and their haul was quite good. After all, they had arrived early, and by the second day, more and more people were arriving one after another. Even the lower grades have come in. After all, the number of lower grades is increasing, and even the 2 or 3 third-grade students at the door can't keep up. If everyone works together, they'll naturally get in. We should find a chance to separate from them. We have less than 2 days left. At this moment, Mingyu communicated with Tang Poyu through their consciousness. Tang Poyu replied, I understand. We'll explore that dense forest ahead later. I see there's a very thick fog there, so we'll pretend to get separated from them. Tang Poyu's purpose this time was not the resources inside the secret realm, although the academy was quite generous this time, and there were quite a few resources inside. However, Tang Poyu had no interest in these resources, since they were insignificant to divine beasts. Chapter 37 Mountain Spirit. We've rested enough. Let's head to that foggy area ahead. The academy usually keeps a lot of good stuff in those areas, Tang Poyu said. That thick fog area really makes me feel uneasy. Is there any danger? Ho Fan seemed a little worried. Zhao Yicheng, who had been sitting on the ground, stood up. She looked in the direction of the dense fog and said, this secret realm has already been explored by national professionals, and the traps and mechanisms inside have long been dismantled. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let us, the students of the Intermediate Beast Taming Academy, enter. The dense fog may have some dangers and traps, but it's definitely within our control. The academy wouldn't want us to lose our lives during the exam, would they? Hearing Zhao Yicheng say this, Ho Fan felt relieved. Okay, let's go to that foggy area. The group then set off. Along the way, Tang Poyu and his group also encountered other students. This area of dense fog is very conspicuous. It can be seen as soon as you enter the secret realm. Everyone knows that there are bound to be unexpected gains in such areas. Even if the items in the secret realm were all placed there by the academy will definitely consider placing some good items in this mist. Therefore, students who have entered the inner area will gradually gather towards this foggy zone. After a journey of more than 20 minutes, Tang Poyu and his group arrived at the misty area. Help! Help! Run! We heard the cries for help as soon as we entered the foggy area. Because the fog is very thick, visibility is no more than 50 meters. Tang Poyu and his group could only hear cries for help, but could not see anyone. The next second, several students slowly came into Tang Poyu's view. They fled in a panic, as if being chased by something. Hey, what happened up ahead? Ho Fan asked. Run! There's a terrifying monster, one of the fleeing people shouted. The group then ran past Tang Poyu and his companions, quickly disappearing into the thick fog. Just then, a roar was heard, and a shadow broke through the thick fog. A humanoid summoned beast with blue skin, white hair, and bared fangs appeared. It looks like he's the one chasing after those students. This monster? Isn't this Teacher Bailey's summoned beast? Tang Poyu asked. That's right, it's Teacher Bailey's mountain spirit. Tang Poyu used the spirit control terminal to check. Name, Mountain Ghost. Race, Oni. Attributes, Poison, Fire. Bloodline. Grade. Attributes, Strength, Agility, Defense. Skill. Owner. Good heavens, the information about this mountain spirit has been hidden by its master and cannot be viewed on the spirit control terminal. However, Tang Poyu and Ho Fan were certain that this was Bailey Jin's mountain spirit. After all, during practical training sessions, Bailey Jean would often release her summoned beasts to accompany everyone in the training. Good heavens, so the teachers are all here too. They're deliberately releasing their summoned beasts to make things more difficult for the students. They're observing from the shadows and then grading everyone's performance. It seems this is the real content of this final exam, Tang Poyu said. At this moment, the mountain spirit had already rushed in front of Tang Poyu and his companions. The mountain demon roared angrily, about to attack. Upon realizing that Tang Poyu was among them, he forcibly withdrew his attack. In fact, during the practical training, Shan Gui had also suffered a setback at the hands of Tang Poyu. Even at a level of over 100, it was still impossible to break through Tang Poyu's defense. Therefore, among the students in Class 2, Shan Gui had the deepest impression of Tang Poyu. The mountain spirit was unwilling to fight Tang Poyu when he encountered him here. After all, humanoid summoned beasts are not lacking in intelligence. This confirms it. It's indeed Teacher Bailey's mountain spirit. Seeing the mountain spirit's reaction, Tang Poyu was also 100% certain that this was Bailey Jin's mountain spirit. The mountain spirit was also embarrassed at this moment and uttered strange words. Tang Poyu couldn't understand it either. After all, some summoned beasts or demonic beasts, even those in human form, don't speak human language. The only ones who can understand their language are their contractors or other demonic beasts or summoned beasts. What is he saying? Zhao Yicheng asked. Ho Fan replied, I don't understand. He asked what you were doing here. Just then, Mingyu spoke up. Tang Poyu laughed. Isn't this like taking a final exam? By the way, is the exam about defeating the teacher's summoned beasts? At this moment, the mountain spirit shook its head nervously, making sounds that no one could understand. At this moment, Mingyu continued to translate. He said they were just here to cause trouble for these people. Defeating them is useless and won't earn you any points. He told us to go over there where there are good things. The mountain spirit nodded, then pointed in a direction to Tang Poyu and the others. The mountain spirit just wants to get rid of Tang Poyu. He has no desire to fight Tang Poyu at all. He recalled that during the practical training session, he was summoned by Bailey Jin. Because Tang Poyu had no one to train with, Shan Gui took on the role of sparring partner. As a result, that training session left a lasting impression on the mountain spirit. At first, I thought a student could easily crush weaker opponents, but in the end, he couldn't break through their defenses at all. Thanks, mountain spirit, Tang Poyu said. The mountain spirit waved to Tang Poyu, then ran off with a whoosh, continuing to torment the other students. Tang Poyu and his companions continued forward, and the further they went in, the more they could hear the sounds of battle inside. Moreover, the battles took place in more than one location. However, due to the poor visibility in this area and the persistent thick fog, it's impossible to know what the scene is like without getting closer. As Tang Poyu and his companions ventured deeper, they finally witnessed the battle unfolding inside. There are many summoned beasts inside, and these summoned beasts belong to the Academy's teachers. Most of them are above level 80, and some are even above level 100. They guard the resources in the central area, and the students have begun to form alliances to fight against these summoned beasts in order to secure those resources. This feeling is really like the feeling of all the players teaming up to fight a world boss in a game. Good heavens, Lao Tang, did you see all those resources over there? There's a lot. Let's join the battle, defeat those teachers' summoned beasts, and then steal all those resources, Ho Fan said. Tang Poyu looked around and saw that there were dozens of people fighting against these summoned beasts. However, it was also clear that these summoned beasts would hold back when facing weaker freshmen. Tang Poyu nodded and said, Okay, let's go together. Tang Poyu also saw this as a good opportunity, so he joined the battle and then took the chance to leave. He planned to tell Ho Fan that he had gotten entangled with a summoned beast, left the scene, and got lost in the thick fog. A good excuse. After all, there were less than 2 days left, and Tang Poyu also needed to go and find what he wanted. Chapter 38, A Spy has infiltrated the secret realm. The three then attacked together. Because many students were attacking together, the scene was quite chaotic. Tang Poyu also took advantage of the chaos to leave the scene with Mingyu. Although sneaking away is a bit unethical, there's no other way. After all, some things are secrets, and too many people can't know about them. After leaving the scene, Tang Poyu looked at the location marked on the map. We should arrive in the east soon, Tang Poyu said. He and Mingyu continued walking according to the map. About half an hour later, Tang Poyu stopped, opened the spirit control terminal, and studied the map. According to the map, the mythical beast is located nearby, but the area is empty except for a few large rocks. Mingyu also came over to take a look and said, This is the place. Tang Poyu said, according to the map, it should be here, but there's nothing here. It can't be underground, can it? Mingyu said that might really be underground. Next, Mingyu began to take action. Mingyu began to move the stones at the scene. What are you doing? Tang Poyu asked. Mingyu replied, these stones contain the power of space. If arranged properly, their power can be activated, opening up another space. Not everyone knows this. You should be glad you're with me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been able to get in today with anyone else. Mingyu said confidently. Tang Poyu was somewhat surprised, not expecting these large rocks to have such a function. No wonder this divine beast had been hidden in this secret realm without anyone discovering it. As Mingyu moved the stones, after the last stone was put back in place, those stones emitted a strange light. Each stone was marked with an element. What do you mean? Tang Poyu asked. A hint of surprise flashed in Mingyu's eyes as he said, I didn't expect there to be a second layer of mechanism. Did you see the elemental markings on the stones? You need to use these elements to activate these stones before the spatial array can be opened. This is lightning, this is darkness, over there is fire, next to it is water, and that's wind. Damn it, are you kidding me? We only have lightning attribute right now, Tang Poyu said. Mingyu was also in a dilemma. This was not a good situation. Even if he went back now and brought Ho Fan and the others over, they would only have gained fire attribute power. Who should we contact for the other 3 attributes? And since someone else activated the spatial array for you, are you saying they shouldn't go in? Tang Poyu, have you discovered anything? Just then, a voice came from behind Tang Poyu. Looking back, good heavens, it was Long Ao. This kid is no simpleton. He's been keeping an eye on Tang Poyu all along. Knowing that Tang Poyu was no ordinary person, they secretly kept an eye on him after he entered the secret realm. Now that Tang Poyu has discovered the mechanism, and he is certain that those who came in before him did not discover it, there must be something good inside. So, that's when he came out. He wasn't afraid that Tang Poyu would make a move, because he knew that Tang Poyu needed him right now. Good heavens, I knew someone was watching me ever since I entered the secret realm. So it was you, huh? What? Want Grandpa to teach you a lesson again? Tang Poyu said. Long Ao's eye twitched. He hated Tang Poyu, but he also remembered what Tan Long Kishin had told him. No matter how much he hated Tang Poyu, he had to find an opportunity to get closer to him and then obtain the method of controlling divine beasts from him. Long Ao said, there's a dark attribute mark on those stones. I think you need the dark attribute. Dark is a rare attribute. As far as I know, there are only 2 or 3 people in the entire academy who possess dark attribute summons, and I'm one of them. I can help you activate this mechanism. You already have the lightning attribute, and the remaining 3 attributes are common. You can find a few people to help you. Tang Poyu thought about it and realized that the dark attribute was indeed a rare attribute. Apart from Long Ao, it would be difficult to find another person who could use the dark attribute. Tang Poyu said, okay, but once we're inside, we'll see how it goes. If there's plenty of space, we'll each go our own way, and whoever gets what they want will be responsible for their own efforts. If there's little space, we'll discuss it further. How about that? In fact, what Tang Poyu said was exactly what Long Ao meant. To search separately, and whoever gets the good stuff keeps it. That would be the best approach. If you were to go with Tang Poyu and they came across something good, he wouldn't be able to compete with Tang Poyu for it. Long Ao smiled slightly, extended his hand, and made a handshake gesture. Good. It's a pleasure to cooperate. I'll go find a few more people now, and then I'll use the Long family's influence to put pressure on them and prevent them from entering. Tang Poyu laughed. You really do have a talent for being a bad guy, but that's more in line with what I was thinking. The cake is only so big. It's no fun if too many people share it. Haha. Tang Poyu, perhaps we really can become friends. Long Ao laughed. I wouldn't dare, Tang Poyu said with a cold laugh. Others would go to great lengths for their friends, but I'm afraid you'd betray them. Long Ao then covered up his embarrassment with laughter. Just as he was about to go find someone to help, 3 people suddenly walked over. No need to bother looking for others. We'll help you. We suspected something was off here for a while, but we just couldn't figure out how to solve the mechanism. We didn't expect you to solve it. The appearance of the 3 aroused the vigilance of Tang Poyu and Long Ao. Because these 3 people are not students. Judging from their age, they were probably in their 30s. The 2 of them had no recollection of them, and they were not teachers at the academy. The most outrageous thing is that the 3 of them have blonde hair and are foreigners, 2 men and 1 woman. Who are you people? Long Ao asked. At this moment, one of the men said, we are Wawi people. Upon hearing the words Vavi people, both Tang Poyu and Long Ao frowned. The presence of 3 foreigners here is clearly a sign that they are spies, because Dong Yao had already sent people to explore this secret realm and take everything away from it. It's currently used as a training ground for students, so the entrance to the secret realm is not strictly guarded at all. It's easy for spies with even a little ability to get in. Tang Poyu, we're in trouble. These 3 guys are clearly spies. If there's anything good in here, they'll definitely kill us to silence us. Long Ao slowly approached Tang Poyu and whispered, "Are you scared?" Long Ao didn't know what to say because he was truly afraid. Perhaps even Dong Yao didn't expect that spies would still infiltrate a secret realm that had already been fully explored. Long Ao sighed inwardly at his bad luck. He had originally thought he would have a great harvest today. Now, things were really bad. His life might be in danger. These spies are ruthless bastards. These guys will definitely not spare their lives to let them report back. Chapter 39, Underground Palace. Vavi and the multi-topographical Dong Yao are different. It is a country of forests. In Vavi, forests are the most common sight, and even their main city is built in the middle of a forest. Wawi is considered a medium-sized country in the west. "This place is yours. Let us go," Tang Poyu said. In fact, Tang Poyu had no intention of leaving. He only said that to see the attitudes of the 3 of them. "Ha, the Vavi woman said. "Let you go? Don't dream about it. We've already revealed our identities. Even if we were to let you go, it wouldn't be now. Perfect timing. The 3 of us are summoned beasts of the wind, fire, and water elements respectively. Open this door and come in with us." In fact, Tang Poyu had already figured it out. These 3 guys just wanted them to go in with them and become cannon fodder. After all, no one can predict what dangers might be involved. Furthermore, Tang Poyu was certain of one thing. In the end, these 3 guys wouldn't let them go. Of course, Tang Poyu didn't intend to let them go either. 3 spies have infiltrated Dong Yao and dare to be so arrogant. It would be a disservice to myself not to take their lives. Tang Poyu walked to the thunderstone. Thunderous roar. The next second, the mark on the thunderstone lit up. Tang Poyu looked at Long Ao. "It's your turn." Long Ao summoned the Little Night Demon. Little Night Demon, activate the dark stone with the Shadow of Darkness. The Shadow of Darkness has no offensive capabilities, but activating this elemental stone does not require offensive power. You only need the attributes required by the elemental stone. The Little Night Demon slipped into the shadows and then moved onto the dark stone. Soon, the mark on the dark stone lit up. Tang Poyu then said to the 3 Vavi spies, "It's your turn." "Humph. This kid is much calmer than I expected," said a slightly overweight Vavi spy. The next second, he summoned a wolf-shaped summon. "This is the Gale Wolf." Then, Gale Wolf unleashed a wind blade, directly activating the mark on the windstone. The female Vavi spy then summoned a gigantic toad, the wave-treading toad. A water cannon illuminates the waterstone's mark. Finally, the slightly thinner Vavi spy summoned a tiger-shaped summon. The summoned beast's fur is entirely red. Blazing tiger, spewing flames. The fiery tiger roared, and a pillar of fire shot out of its mouth. As the mark on the last fire stone was lit up, instantly, a spatial rift appeared in front of everyone. "Is this the rift to another dimension?" "You 2, go in first," the female Vavi spy said. Tang Poyu and Ming Yu walked to the front, with Long Ao following closely behind. At this moment, Tang Poyu was secretly looking at the spirit control terminal in his hand, wanting to check the information of the other party's 3 summoned beasts. Unfortunately, the information about the 3 summoned beasts is hidden. That's normal. After all, they are spies, and they wouldn't openly share their summoned beast information on the spirit control terminal. "Kid, if you look at that spirit control terminal again, I'll kill you," said the slightly overweight Vavi spy. Okay, I won't look," Tang Poyu said. As everyone entered the spatial rift, the rift vanished instantly. "The spatial rift has disappeared. How do we get out?" the Vavi female spy asked. "There must be another way out. Let's look around and see if there's anything good in here first," said the slightly thin Vavi spy. At this moment, everyone looked at their surroundings. Unlike the previous secret realm, this place was more like an underground palace. The space inside is very large, and there are multiple passageways. If you can access the spirit control terminal, you can find the location of the divine beast on the map, and then know which passage to take. However, with 3 spies watching from behind, Tang Poyu really didn't have a chance to look at the spirit control terminal. Of course, we can take care of these three now. Judging from their age, these three guys should be high-level beast tamers, and their summoned beasts are all around level 100. Given their level, Tang Poyu didn't believe they were capable of surviving the thunderstorms of the heavenly prison. However, Tang Poyu didn't know what dangers were inside the underground palace, or whether he would need several elemental powers to get out. Therefore, Tang Poyu has not yet made a move. Of course, the three spies shared the same idea as Tang Poyu. There are 5 passages here. Which one should we take? Let's start with the first one. Hey, you guys, go ahead and recall your summoned beasts, especially this dragon girl, said the female spy, Vavi. Mingyu made the three of them somewhat uneasy. After all, being in human form and a dragon-summoned beast, he was by no means simple. They also checked Mingyu's information through the spirit control terminal, but Tang Poyu also hid Mingyu's information. Most people in the town know Mingyu, but those outside the town, who aren't even from Donyao Kingdom, wouldn't know Mingyu. No matter how famous Mingyu is, how thick-skinned she is, or how much of a disgrace to the divine beasts and the useless dragon of Donyao, she is only famous in Yulong Town. Once you leave Dragon Town, who would know her? So, the human form with dragon features is quite intimidating. Long Ao quickly recalled Little Night Demon. How annoying. I'll make them pay later. Mingyu said to Tang Poyu through his mind. Tang Poyu's lips curled up slightly, and then he replied to Mingyu. Let's go play on the beast breeding island for a while, and I'll call you out later. Tang Poyu then sent Mingyu to the beast breeding island. All right, you two go ahead. Tang Poyu and Long Ao walked side by side in front. At this moment, Long Ao whispered to Tang Poyu, these three guys summoned beasts are all quite high level, probably over 100. Can your summoned beasts withstand their attacks? Tang Poyu laughed. Hey, I'm about the same age as you. Use your brain and think about it. What level are beast tamers of our age? And think about what level the other three are at. Do you think I can stop them? Upon hearing this, Long Ao was somewhat disappointed. In that case, he might really be killed by these three spies to silence him in the end. You two, stop whispering to each other up front, and don't try anything funny, said the female spy, Vavi. Tang Poyu turned around, smiled, and said to the three men, we're just meat on your chopping block now. What tricks can we play? Don't worry, we'll do whatever you say. We just hope you'll spare our lives when you leave. Tang Poyu is now deliberately feigning weakness to make the three of them less wary of him. Long Ao quickly added, yes, me too. I'll do whatever you say, just please don't kill me. Tang Poyu deliberately feigned weakness to lower the other party's guard, while Long Ao was genuinely cowardly. Chapter 40. Call me Grandpa again. Don't worry, as long as you behave, we'll let you off the hook. The spy may say that, but he doesn't really think that way. After all, they wouldn't leave any loopholes when doing something like this. Tang Poyu and Long Ao had already seen what they looked like, so how could they possibly let the two go? Thank you. A brat is a brat, the slightly overweight spy thought to himself. The passage was very long, and the group had been walking for quite some time, yet it seemed to have no end. Damn it, we've been walking for so long. Just how long is this passage? The female spy was getting impatient. That's all we can do now. Let's keep going and see, said the slightly overweight spy. The group continued onward, and after walking for an unknown amount of time, everyone was exhausted. According to Tang Poyu's estimate, they had been walking for at least 5 or 6 hours. However, no matter which way they went, the passage seemed to have no end. 5 or 6 hours, at a normal walking pace, will be about 20 or 30 kilometers. We've been in this passage for 20 or 30 kilometers. Is this underground palace really that big? Is the passageway really that long? At this moment, everyone sat down to rest, while Tang Poyu began to ponder what exactly was going on with this passage. Is this space just an illusion? Tang Poyu knew in his heart that they couldn't continue like this, or they would be trapped here to die. Now all we can do is look at the map. At this moment, the three spies were all quite tired. They sat on the ground to rest, and their attention was no longer on Tang Poyu. Perhaps because Tang Poyu and Long Ao were relatively honest, the three spies lowered their guard against them. At this moment, Tang Poyu sat with his back to the three of them, and then he secretly turned on the spirit control terminal. After opening the map, Tang Poyu indeed discovered the problem. The divine beast was positioned to their right front, and Tang Poyu turned his head to look. There's a wall to the right front. Are we supposed to go through the wall? He studied the map carefully, and soon he understood. Goodness, this passage isn't infinitely long. Although this underground palace is large, It is not so large that a passageway is tens of kilometers long. If their guess was correct, the passage was circular. Because it was relatively large, the curvature of the passage was small, giving them the impression that they were walking in a straight line. However, they were actually just going around in circles in this circular passage. The divine beast is located at the center of this circle, which means that there must be a hidden path leading to the center of the circle inside this passage. Let's continue. After resting for more than 10 minutes, the 3 spies stood up. Can I rest a little longer? I really have no strength left, Long Ao said. The female spy walked over and kicked Long Ao hard, making him howl in pain. Stop talking nonsense. If you don't want to die, listen to me, get up, and go. I'm leaving. There was nothing Long Ao could do but obediently comply. Long Ao and Tang Poyu then continued walking ahead. Tang Poyu has now figured out that they are inside a closed circular passage. Along the way, it's unknown how many times they've circled this route. The entrance we just saw is no longer visible, so the real passage inside is hidden. Tang Poyu, if this continues, we'll all die here. We're already lost in this strange space. In the end, we'll either die from exhaustion and starvation, or we'll be killed by those 3. Let's find a chance to escape. At least there'll be some hope. Long Ao whispered to Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu said, Call me Grandpa again. I guarantee you'll get out alive. You. What? It's not like it's the first time you call me that. Are you still shy? Call me that or not is up to you. It's just a matter of whether you want to live or not. Tang Poyu looked indifferent. Call me that or not. It's up to you. Grandpa. Long Ao gritted his teeth. He was completely out of options now. So whether Tang Poyu was playing tricks on him or not, he could just yell at him. In the end, he would only suffer a mental loss, but he would not actually lose anything. Oh, my dear grandson, don't worry, you won't die this time. Grandpa will take you out of here. Of course, that's on the condition that you don't cause any trouble for Grandpa and just stay with him obediently, Tang Poyu said. Long Ao said, Right now, I only want to escape from these 3 spies. Why would I do anything bad to you? That would be best. At this point, Tang Poyu suddenly stopped. Seeing that Tang Poyu had stopped, the 3 spies asked, Why did you stop? Tang Poyu replied, We've been walking for a long time, but this passage seems endless. Have you ever considered the possibility that this passage could be a closed loop? Tang Poyu's words startled the group. What he said did seem quite plausible. But if it really was a circle, then where was their entrance? After walking around the circle, they should be able to see the entrance, right? Kid, you said this passage is a circle, so how do you explain the passage we came in through? The female spy asked. Tang Poyu replied, This is the magical aspect of this underground palace. It must be an illusionary space. The passages inside automatically hide, but they actually exist. It's just that our eyes are deceiving us. Therefore, we shouldn't follow the passages. We should head towards the center. We should also observe the walls more closely. Perhaps there's a hidden passage leading to the center. You have a point, kid. The group continued forward, but this time they walked along the inner walls, touching the walls with their hands. And so, we walked for about another half hour. Suddenly, Tang Poyu, who was at the front, noticed something. This surprised Tang Poyu slightly. Seeing that Tang Poyu had stopped again, the female spy said impatiently, Kid, why did you stop again? Tang Poyu replied, Didn't you see my hand? When Tang Poyu said this, everyone looked at Tang Poyu's hand that was touching the wall. To their surprise, Tang Poyu's hand had already completely penetrated the wall. What's going on? The female spy walked over in surprise and reached out to touch it. Her hand easily passed through the wall. Tang Poyu said, It seems my guess was right. There's a hidden passage here. Our eyes deceived us. This wall doesn't exist at all. Going through here should lead to the center of the circle. Hearing this, the spies were overjoyed. You 2 go in first. The slightly overweight spy shoved Tang Poyu and Long Ao and said sternly, Chapter 41 Armor Guards. The body passed through the wall without any hindrance. A new passage appeared before Tang Poyu and his companions. Judging from the direction of this passage, it leads to the center of the circle, which is where the divine beast is located. Wow, there really is another passage here. The person who designed this underground palace must have been crazy. We almost got trapped here to death. The 3 spies also came in. You got some skills, kid. You were able to discover the secret of those stones when you were outside and successfully get in, and now you've discovered the secret of this passage, said the slightly thin spy. Tang Poyu said, Don't praise me yet. We don't know what awaits us ahead. Kid, let's go. Whether you survive or not depends on your fate. Tang Poyu and Long Ao continued walking ahead. They hadn't gone far when suddenly, a strange noise came from ahead. The next second, a dark mass of unidentified creatures flew towards them. What's that in front of me? Help! Seeing this, Long Ao screamed in terror. Tang Poyu frowned, as if there was a swarm of flying insects in front of him. Hey, let your blazing tigers attack. If those flying insects really come over, we're all doomed. Tang Poyu said hurriedly. Brat, I can do it without you telling me. Fiery tiger, charge. At this moment, the fiery tiger leaped forward. With a roar, it spewed a pillar of fire from its mouth. The pillars of fire instantly filled the passage ahead. At this moment, you can hear the crackling sound of the flying insects being burned, and the air is filled with an unpleasant burning smell. After a while, the fiery tiger stopped, and the swarm of flying insects in front of it had all been burned to ashes. Good grief, there's this one waiting for us too. It's been resolved. You two can continue on your way. Tang Poyu and Long Ao continued walking through the front gate. The ground was covered with a thick layer of the corpses and ashes of the flying insects, making a crackling sound when they stepped on it. After walking for a few minutes, they arrived at a large hall, which was empty and devoid of anything. Ahead of them stood a closed stone door. The group walked over, tried to open the stone door, but found they couldn't open it no matter what they did. The three spies even tried to have their summoned beasts forcefully break down the stone door, but no matter how much they attacked, the stone door remained completely undamaged. Damn it! How do I open this broken door? Just then, a rumbling sound came from above the hall. When everyone looked up, they saw a passage slowly appearing above them. The next second, with a loud bang, a huge armored guard fell down from the passage. The moment they landed, the weight of the armored guards cracked the stone slabs on the ground. Looking at the armored guard, it was over 3 meters tall and held a giant ruler. The next second, the armored guard stood up straight and walked directly towards the crowd. After the armored guard approached the group, he raised the giant ruler high in his hand. Then the giant ruler came crashing down. Get out of the way. Everyone quickly dodged. With a loud crash, the giant ruler slammed into the ground, and the stone slab shattered instantly. What is that? A demonic beast? Long Ao asked nervously. At this moment, he opened the spirit control terminal, wanting to check the information of this armored guard. However, on the spirit control terminal, there was no information whatsoever, not even a name. All the information consisted of question marks. It doesn't seem like a demonic beast. Is this some kind of relic from an ancient civilization? Or perhaps a puppet? Tang Poyu said. In this world, besides beast tamers, there is another profession, puppeteers. Because not everyone has the ability to sign a contract with a monster and become a beast tamer. To sign a contract, one must first have strong enough mental strength to become the leader of the contract. Otherwise, you'll suffer the backlash of the contract. At best, you'll experience mental and intellectual damage. At worst, the summoned beast will turn the tables on you, which would be the most troublesome situation. Not everyone has the required mental strength, but these people still hope to have the same combat power as beast tamers. After all, in this world, the strong are respected, and who wouldn't want to become strong? Thus, the puppeteer was born. Puppeteers control puppets using their own spiritual energy. This does not require mental power. It is purely using their own spiritual energy to make the puppets move. Generally speaking, however, puppets are weaker than summoned beasts. This is because the vast majority of puppets can only use brute force attacks and have no skills whatsoever. The armored guard before them resembled a seasoned general, though it was entirely made of sheet metal. Its appearance was more in line with the design of a puppet, but since it was a puppet, the puppeteer controlling it had to be present. However, there was no one else here except them. If it wasn't the puppeteer operating it, how could this armored guard move? Or rather, beneath this sheet of metal lies a human or a monster, and it possesses self-awareness. Never mind what that thing is. Getting hit by it will either kill you or cripple you. Attack! Destroy that iron block, the slightly overweight spy said. At this moment, their 3 summoned beasts launched an attack on the armored guard. This armored guard has considerable defensive capabilities, and because its entire body is made of iron, the attacks from the 3 summoned beasts don't seem to have much effect on it. Using the water of a clam to attack an iron block is truly laughable. It's less effective than an egg hitting a rock. The wind blades from the Gale Wolf could only leave shallow marks on the surface of the ironclad warrior's skin. Finally, there was the fire of the blazing tiger. This blazing tiger only consumed ordinary flames, and the temperature was not high enough to melt iron. So even though these three summoned beasts are all over level 100, they still struggled against the armored guardian that was their natural counter. Tang Poyu, while the three of them are held back by this iron block, let's run. Notify someone to come and capture these three spies. We'll get a reward. Long Ao said to Tang Poyu at this moment. Tang Poyu laughed. Run? Why run? Grandson, look at this big iron block. Isn't it amazing? This might be a technological relic left over from the previous civilization. Facing three summoned beasts over level 100, it's not at a disadvantage at all. I like this thing, I want it. Upon hearing this, Long Ao's eyes flashed with surprise. He said, Are you crazy? You can't even defeat three summoned beasts that are over level 100. What can you do? Even if you do get it, can you control it? I'm leaving. If you don't want to leave, fine. I don't want to die here. With that, Long Ao turned and ran. Wind blade. The next second, a wind blade struck Long Ao. In an instant, a wound appeared on Long Ao's back, blood flowing freely, and he rolled on the ground in pain. At this moment, the slightly chubby spy said coldly, Don't think you can escape just because our summoned beasts are fighting. We don't even need our summoned beasts to take your lives. I'm not running anymore. I'm not running anymore. Save me. Save me. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Please, save me. Long Ao was in excruciating pain. Looking at the pool of blood on the ground, he knew that if the bleeding from his back wound wasn't stopped in time, he would die. Chapter 42 Void Beasts, Lyrixinia. The three spies completely ignored Long Ao's wailing. For them, their final purpose in leaving was to deal with Long Ao and Tang Poyu, so they didn't care whether the two lived or died. Pain and blood loss caused his body temperature to drop, and Long Ao could clearly feel his life slipping away. However, at this moment, Tang Poyu walked to Long Ao's side and first took out some hemostatic medicine for Long Ao to use. After stopping the bleeding, Tang Poyu gave Long Ao the recovery medicine and made him take it. After taking the recovery medicine, Long Ao was in less pain. However, it was just an ordinary recovery medicine, and it wasn't enough to make Long Ao's injuries heal in a short time. Why did you save me? Long Ao lay on his side on the ground, looking at Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu replied, Although I don't consider myself a good person, I'm a person with a strong sense of contract. As I just said, call me Grandpa, and I guarantee you'll get out alive. So, I won't let you die before I get you out of here. You're quite a strange guy. At this moment, Tang Poyu stood up and looked at the battle in the arena. Although the three spies summoned beasts were all over level 100, their attack methods were indeed countered by the armor guards. Water, fire, and wind cannot inflict effective damage on the armor guards. Tang Poyu looked at the closed stone door, which had an opening on it, the size of which was similar to the giant ruler in the hands of the armored guard. Tang Poyu seemed to realize something, and then asked the three spies, Do you need any help? Help? What help can a brat from an intermediate academy like you be? The female spy said dismissively. Tang Poyu said, This guy is made of iron. Your three summoned beasts will have a hard time inflicting effective damage on him. But I'm different. My summoned beast attacks with lightning. Lightning has penetrating power. Even if my attack power isn't high, the lightning might penetrate its surface and damage its core, which might be useful. After listening to Tang Poyu's words, the three of them felt that what Tang Poyu said made a lot of sense. Okay, then you give it a try, the female spy said. Tang Poyu Mun Ming Yu. Wow, what a huge lump of iron. Mingyu exclaimed in surprise upon seeing the armored guard in front of him. Tang Poyu said, Help me block this iron block. I'll attack it. This is so troublesome. Why don't we just let their summoned beasts block it? Mingyu yawned, looking impatient. Tang Poyu said, Even if they can block me, I won't summon you. Tang Poyu's words instantly provoked the dissatisfaction of the three spies. What was this brat saying? Even the three of us summoned beasts couldn't stop it. So how could yours possibly do so? Ridiculous. A student from an intermediate academy, you're utterly ignorant of your own limitations. But they didn't have time to worry about that at the moment. Okay, just block this metal lump, right? Mingyu said. Right? Just then, Mingyu calmly walked towards the armored guard. When Mingyu walked up to it, the armored guard didn't care about anything else. Its duty was to protect this place and defeat all invaders. The armored guard raised the giant ruler high above his head, and the next second, with a whoosh, the giant ruler slammed down on Mingyu. At this moment, Mingyu stood still, showing no intention of dodging. How stupid. I bet she'd be smashed to a pulp by that blow, the female spy said. Given the density of iron, such a large iron ruler must weigh at least 1 or 2 tons. If a ton or two of iron were to fall on them like that, and they didn't run away, they must be out of their minds. The next second, there was a loud thud. The giant ruler has already come crashing down. To the shock of the 3 spies, Mingyu was not only unharmed, but she actually managed to block the attack by catching the blade with her bare hands. The 3 of them nearly popped their eyes out. How could this be? Would students from an intermediate academy have such a powerful summoned beast? It should be noted that even their summoned beasts, which were all over level 100, were not capable of withstanding the giant ruler attack from the armored guard. This kid's summoned beast not only caught the blade, but also caught it barehanded and with complete ease. Okay, here I come, holding his weapon. Tang Poyu said something, then jumped up. Thunderous roar. In an instant, the lightning pierced through the armored guard's outer shell, and its core inside was burned away by the lightning. The armored guards stopped moving the next second. Then, with a loud bang, the armored guard fell to the ground. The 3 spies were completely dumbfounded. Was this kid really that strong? Or was he just pretending to be weak to take advantage of the situation? The 3 spies exchanged glances. Years of cooperation had made them very compatible. With that one glance, the 3 of them understood each other's meaning. They knew they couldn't let this kid live. They would find an opportunity to ambush him and eliminate him and his summoned beast. Regardless of whether this kid is pretending to be weak or not, his existence might pose a threat to them. That's all, Tang Poyu said. The female spy said, I didn't realize you were so capable. Tang Poyu replied, you flatter me. It's just that my attack method happens to be a perfect counter to this guy. By the way, look at the crack in that stone door over there. It corresponds perfectly to this guy's weapon. Perhaps his weapon is the key. Hearing Tang Poyu say this, the group turned their attention to the crack in the stone door. Sure enough, it corresponds to the shape of the giant ruler. Bring that giant ruler over. The 3 of them went over and tried to lift the giant ruler, but it was too heavy. You guys come and help too, the female spy said. Tang Poyu and Mingyu went over together, and then, together with the summoned beasts of the 3 spies, they finally lifted the giant ruler. After the giant ruler was lifted, the 3 spies were even more terrified. It was far heavier than they had imagined. In other words, the boy summoned beast had just absorbed such a terrifying weight. With the combined efforts of everyone and their summoned beasts, they managed to insert the giant ruler into the crack in the stone gate. Just then, it seemed as if the entire underground palace was shaking. With a rumbling sound, the stone door in front of them opened. Behind the stone gate was another large hall. In the very center of the hall, a monster lay on the ground, seemingly fast asleep. The monster wasn't big, about the size of an adult golden retriever. This monster had a peculiar appearance, and in Tang Poyu's mind, it was somewhat similar to the Qilin in his previous worldview. Is this the divine beast I've been looking for? Tang Poyu thought to himself. However, 2 guards stood beside the sleeping monster. These 2 guards are different from the armor guards from before. They are much larger, standing about 5 meters tall. Furthermore, they are not made of iron, but one is gold and the other silver. Could this be the void beast known as the god of space, Lyrixinia? Mingyu murmured to himself. Chapter 43, 3 Gods. Void beast, Lyrixinia, what does that mean? Tang Poyu asked. Tang Poyu raised a question, and everyone else focused their attention on Mingyu. Mingyu said smugly, You've come to the right person, no? You've come to the right dragon. Ahem. Mingyu cleared his throat and said, Legend has it that this continent was once in a state of chaos, when a god who had traveled through many worlds accidentally came to this world. So he used his divine power to separate this chaotic world. It became the continent we know today. As time passed, humans gradually appeared on this world, and the god decided to leave this continent to continue his travels to other worlds. Before leaving, he entrusted this world to his 3 most loyal servants. The sky dragon, Maya, rules the sky and possesses the power of all natural elements. Lyresia, a void beast, rules the earth and possesses the power of space. The final ocean is ruled by Biter of the Tideborn, who controls all life in the sea and possesses the true eye that sees through all illusions. Sky Dragon, isn't that you? Tang Poyu asked. Mingyu replied, I am at most a descendant of Moihi. And then what? How can you be so sure that the dozing creature is a void beast, Lysinia? Tang Poyu asked. Mingyu said, After the gods left, these three took over their work. In fact, even the current gods were once their servants. However, thousands of years ago, a new race appeared, the underworld race. Their original world was destroyed, and they eventually came to this world under the leadership of their king. They plundered all the resources of this land, enslaving humanity. However, the king of the underworld was too powerful, and ultimately, three gods joined forces to suppress the underworld in the darkness of the underworld, ensuring they would never see the light again. After that battle, Maya perished, and Lyrisin and Biter were severely wounded and unable to recover. Facing the ravaged land and sea, they unleashed their last strength to repair the war-damaged earth and restore the ocean's ecology and balance. Afterwards, they lost their power and disappeared from sight, said to have gone into slumber, slowly recovering their strength over countless ages. After the disappearance of the three gods, their servants also abandoned their rule over the continent. Thus, the continent became a land ruled by humans. Without rulers, humans fought each other for land and resources, and wars raged continuously. It wasn't until nearly 1,000 years ago that the war subsided, resulting in the current situation where, as you can see, the continent was ultimately divided into 9 nations: Dongyao, Nanyao, Lining, Songlin, Zhoa, Kata, Wavi, Dongquan, and Tianxiu. Why do I think this is Lyrixinia? Because it said that the ruler of the earth was skilled in puppetry, and she shared her techniques with humanity, which is why puppeteers exist among humans today. These few armor guards, the iron armor guards, the gold armored guards, and the silver armor guards, don't seem like creations humans could possibly make. Therefore, this divine beast is very likely the void beast, Lyrixinia, who has lost her power. After hearing Mingyu's explanation, the 3 spies' eyes lit up. If what Mingyu said is true, then this thing before us is a divine beast among divine beasts. If we could sign a contract with it, wouldn't dominating this world be just around a corner? Mingyu, are you so sure she's Lyrixinia? She hasn't woken up yet. Mingyu said, according to rumors, Lyrixiania's true form is like this, though much larger. However, considering that her size decreased after losing her power, this is normal. Next, we just need to wake her up and determine if she possesses spatial abilities to basically confirm her identity. At this moment, the 3 spies slowly approached. Now their minds are filled with mythical beasts. At that moment, the thought of betraying their own country even crossed their minds. After all, they were spies sent by the kingdom of Avi. They had infiltrated another country's secret territory, and everything they obtained should have been handed over to the state. But at this moment, all 3 shared a common thought: to make this divine beast their own. However, just as they approached the divine beast, suddenly, the eyes of the silver-armored and gold-armored guards standing beside the divine beast glowed, indicating that they had been activated. Look at these 3 idiots. They're really in for a beating now, Mingyu said. As the golden-armored and silver-armored guards activated, they raised their giant rulers and began to attack. They were larger and stronger than the armored guards. One might have assumed their size would make them less agile. However, to everyone's surprise, they were even faster than the armored guards. Blazing Tiger, go up. Ride the waves and crush them. Swift Wolf, don't give up. If these 3 summoned beasts have such a hard time defeating the ironclad guardians, then the silver armor guardians and the gold armor guardians are even more difficult to defeat. Their attacks were almost entirely ineffective. Even if they used all their strength, they could only leave a few scratches on the hands of the silver-armored and gold-armored guards. At this moment, the golden-armored warrior swung the giant ruler in his hand and brought it down. With a deafening roar, the entire underground palace trembled as the giant ruler slammed into the ground. The force was far greater than that of the armored guards. If it had actually hit them, these summoned beasts would likely have been instantly killed. Hey, what are you standing there for? Come help. The slightly overweight spy yelled at Tang Yu. Yes, I'll help right away. Tang Poyu said unhurriedly. Mingyu, let's go. If we want to get close to the divine beast, we have to deal with these 2 guys first. Tang Poyu and Mingyu then launched an attack together. Blazing Tiger, come back. Come back, you wave-riding clam. Gale Wolf, come back too. Good heavens, these 3 guys are quite cunning. Seeing that Tang Poyu and Mingyu had attracted the hatred of the golden armor guard and the silver armor guard, they actually called back their summoned beasts. Of course, Tang Poyu didn't care, since the summoned beasts of these 3 spies were practically useless. Mingyu went up to draw aggro, and faced with the attacks of the golden-armored and silver-armored guards, Mingyu still used his body to withstand them. This sight terrified the three spies. To withstand such a relentless attack required an incredibly high level of defense. After all, the golden-armored and silver-armored guards were just two puppets, without consciousness or intelligence. So, while they were attacking Mingyu, Tang Poyu leaped up directly. Thunderous roar. Gold and silver conduct electricity much better than iron. In an instant, lightning has already burned away their cores. Chapter 44. Ouch, what are you doing? As the core burned, the golden-armored guards and silver-armored guards fell to the ground. The three spies were also shocked by this scene. The gold-armored and silver-armored guard were much stronger than the iron-armored ones before, yet this kid easily defeated them despite such strength. The three exchanged a glance. Meanwhile, the slightly chubby spy communicated with the summoned beast through a contract, sending the blazing tiger to ambush Mingyu. Once the summoned beast dies, the beast tamer is naturally rendered useless. Having received orders from the slightly overweight spy, Blazing Tiger began to circle around behind Mingyu and slowly approach him. When the fiery tiger came up behind Mingyu, it suddenly leaped up and its huge tiger claws slammed directly at Mingyu's head. The tiger's claws are incredibly powerful. Most summoned beasts couldn't withstand such a blow. Basically, if you grab it like that, the skull of a low-level summoned beast will be cracked. With a snap, the tiger's claw slammed down on Mingyu's head. The force of the blow was so great that the stone slab beneath Mingyu's feet cracked. Success. The three spies were secretly delighted. They can kill the summoned beast and the kid, and as for the injured kid outside, they can take care of him anytime. As for what to do with the divine beast after that, that was up to the three of them. Hey, what are you doing? Mingyu turned around and looked at the fiery tiger in front of him. Mingyu was unharmed, but the blazing tiger let out a mournful howl. The reason was simple. Its claw was broken. No, it's impossible. This sent a chill down the spines of the three spies. They couldn't believe that the summoned beast was completely unharmed after being struck by the fiery tiger. On the contrary, the fiery tiger had broken its own claw. How could a student from an intermediate beast-taming academy possess such strength and such a powerful summoned beast? Tang Poyu looked at the three spies, a cold smile appearing on his face. What? Didn't you say you'd let me go if we obeyed? What were you trying to do just now? Kill us? This is a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. I don't know what's wrong with the blazing tiger. It suddenly attacked. This wasn't my order, said the slightly overweight spy. At this moment, cold sweat poured down his forehead. In Tang Poyu's eyes, he saw death. Tang Poyu said, I know you've always wanted to see Mingyu's information. Fine, I'll let you take a look. I've already published her information on the spirit control terminal. Upon hearing Tang Poyu's words, the three of them quickly used the spirit control terminal to check Mingyu's information. What? A divine beast? How is a defense of 9,999 possible? Why? You're clearly just a student at an intermediate beast taming academy. The three of them never expected that Mingyu was actually a divine beast. From a moment they saw the humanoid, dragon-like summoned beast, they knew it was something extraordinary. But they never expected that it was actually a mythical beast. Tang Poyu said, Now that you know, you could die knowing why, right? Please don't kill us. The three men were terrified. At this point, the roles of hunter and prey seemed to have changed. Spies, and they just tried to kill me. I promise to let you go. Can Mingyu agree to that? Tang Poyu asked. Mingyu replied, No, that tiger just touched my head. I hate being touched on the head. The three spies were almost in tears when she patted their heads. The fiery tiger had just unleashed its full power. That palm strike could have dented iron. And yet, in her eyes, it was merely a pat on the head. Look, even Mingyu isn't letting you off the hook, Tang Poyu said. Damn it, I'll fight him to the death. Blazing tiger. Clams that ride the waves. Gale wolf. Let's all attack together and kill them. The three spies also saw the determination in Tang Poyu's eyes, and they knew that Tang Poyu would not let them go. If that's the case, then let's give it our all. Kid, so what if you have something? Do you really think we're pushovers? We'll fight to the death then and there, the female spy said. Tang Poyu looked at the three summoned beasts rushing towards him and sneered. Is this a fight to the death or just overestimating oneself? Divine dragon armor. As the sky bracelet on Tang Poyu's wrist emitted light, the dragon scale armor directly transformed into the divine dragon armor. Golden dragon scales covered Tang Poyu's entire body. With a loud bang, Tang Poyu, relying on the defensive power of the divine dragon armor, managed to withstand the combined attack of the 3 summoned beasts. How is that possible? He actually accepted it. And how does he know other skills? Aren't beast tamers only allowed to have one skill? Summoning a beast? There are many things you don't know, but you'll never have the chance to know. From the moment you infiltrated this land, your fate was sealed. Remember, Dongyao, this is the graveyard of you, the heavenly prison. The heavenly prison was activated, and the entire underground palace was shrouded in thunderstorms. The next second, as the thunderstorm descended, the 3 summoned beasts turned to ashes. The death of a summoned beast has a significant impact on the 3 players. The 3 of them knelt on the ground, their expressions showing distress. The summoned beast is dead. It's your turn next, Tang Poyu said. No, how can I die here? You can't kill us. We're spies. You should hand us over to your country, not you. You're just a student at an intermediate beast taming academy. You're not qualified, the female spy said. Tang Poyu said, No, don't misunderstand. I didn't think you were spies. I just thought you were strangers who were about to kill me. My actions were simply self-defense against strangers who wanted to kill me for no reason. No, how could that be? A divine beast. I want a divine beast too. With a divine beast, I can possess that power. I want a divine beast. At this moment, the female spy roared, and the next second, she pounced on the sleeping divine beast in the very center. She knew a principle: strike first, and you'll have the upper hand. As long as you come into contact with this divine beast and sign a contract, there is still a possibility of a reversal. However, just as he lunged at the divine beast, before his hands could even touch the sleeping creature, the space in front of him suddenly distorted. The distorted space created an unsettling feeling. The female spy, realizing something was wrong, tried to retreat, but it was too late. She found herself unable to retreat. The distorted space seemed to have a suction force, constantly pulling her towards the center of the distortion. No, no, no. Help! Help me! Help me! Ah, help me! Amidst her screams, she was drawn into the heart of a distorted space. Within this distorted space, her body gradually twisted, and her agonizing cries were the last sound she uttered in this world. Finally, in the distorted space, her body turned into a twisted mass of flesh and blood, and was ultimately swallowed up by the distorted space. Chapter 45, Old Friend. Nakarin, the thin spy shouted, trying to rush forward, but was pulled back by the slightly overweight spy. Even so, the scene in the entire hall has begun to change. In an instant, the surrounding scene turned black, then the blackness faded, and they found themselves in a strange space. It felt as if I were in the universe. Beneath my feet lies a deep blue starry sky, and looking up, I see a dazzling Milky Way. What happened? Tang Poyu asked Mingyu. Mingyu replied, That foolish woman just now probably activated a protective force left behind by Lyrixinia before she lost her powers. Besides these puppets, this force was used to protect her from disturbance while she was asleep. It seems we've now fallen into a domain. Help! Help! Suddenly, Tang Poyu heard the cries for help from the 2 spies. He looked in the direction of the spies and saw that the starry sky above them had turned into a sea of fire. It was a meteor, a burning meteor hurtling towards them. The next second, with a loud bang, the meteor struck the 2 of them. Under the immense impact, they lost their lives instantly. Perhaps for them, such a death was relatively easy. At least they didn't suffer too much torment. Unlike that woman, who suffered terribly before dying, watching her body slowly twist and turn until it became a mass of flesh and blood. Will we be attacked? Tang Poyu asked. Mingyu replied, I don't know. Is this feeling from an old friend? Just then, a woman's voice suddenly rang out in this space. Who? Tang Poyu asked. I am the last remaining vestige of Lyrixiania's consciousness. Is that sleeping divine beast outside you? Mingyu asked. Not entirely. You could see her as my reincarnation, but she will not become me. My old friend, she is now in your hands. After that sentence was spoken, the surrounding scene returned to normal. Tang Poyu looked around and saw that besides the golden and silver armored guards on the ground, there were the remains of 3 summoned beasts that had been cleaved into ashes by the heavenly prison. The 3 spies had vanished without a trace. Hello, we still have a question, hello. That voice just now, she said she was the remnant consciousness of Lyrixinia, and she called you an old friend? Tang Poyu looked at Mingyu. Mingyu stuck out her tongue and said, Who knows? Maybe she mistook me for someone else. I have the bloodline of the Sky Dragon. She must have mistaken me for Moihi. He, but this way we won't be attacked. Let's go see that little guy. I'll have a little follower now. Tang Poyu and Mingyu arrived in front of the divine beast, which was still asleep. Tang Poyu slowly reached out his hand. However, having learned from the experience with that woman, Tang Poyu was extremely cautious. However, Tang Poyu encountered no obstacles and easily touched the divine beast. Congratulations on finding your first mythical beast. Would you like to add it to your beast breeding island? Yes. The next second, the mythical beast disappeared and entered the beast breeding island. Congratulations. The void beast has been added to your collection. The island owner will receive a 10 attribute bonus from the void beast. The island owner can choose one of the void beast's initial basic skills to share. Congratulations, island owner. You can exchange points for new items. Congratulations, island owner. You have activated the kill reward points mode. At this moment, Tang Poyu was also able to see the information about this divine beast through the spirit control terminal. Name, Void Beast. Race, Phantom God Race. Attribute, Space. Bloodline, Divine Beast Level. Level 1. Attributes, Strength 100, Agility 100, Defense 100. Skills, Spatial Displacement, Divine Realm. Master, Tang Poyu. What? I can only get 10 points in attributes? And I can only choose one from the initial normal skills. Do I even have a choice? I can't choose a god-level skill, so I only have Spatial Displacement. Tang Poyu said. Mingyu casually draped his arm around Tang Poyu's shoulder and laughed. How can we be the same? You and I signed a divine contract before the gods, so naturally you can have 30 of my attributes and share all my skills except for god-level skills. But their contracts, although also contracts, are considered ordinary contracts signed through Beast Breeding Island, so they can only get 10 of my attributes and one initial ordinary skill, which is normal. Could you two switch your contracts? I think the Spatial Beast has more potential. At least its stats are normal. You have nothing but defense, Tang Poyu said. Mingyu made a face at Tang Poyu and said, I can't change it, hee. Sigh, never mind. Let's go check out Beast Breeding Island. I wonder how long this guy's going to sleep. Tang Pokong then activated Beast Breeding Island. He and Mingyu entered the Beast Breeding Island together. The spatial monsters were still asleep at this time. Tang Poyu changed the weather on the island to sunny, hoping it would be more comfortable to sleep that way. I poked. Mingyu poked the void beast with his hand. Won't wake up. Watch me, little spinning top. At this moment, Mingyu revealed her dragon tail and then slapped at the void beast. What are you doing? Come here. Tang Poyu grabbed Mingyu's face and pulled her aside. My face, Mingyu said, rubbing her cheeks which had been pinched red. I'll wake this guy up for you. He's sleeping like a log. Is that how you yell? Forget it. Let's leave the underground palace first, and we can figure out how to wake up the void beast later, Tang Poyu said. All right. Tang Poyu and Mingyu then left the beast breeding island. Back in the main hall of the underground palace, he then casually took all the golden-armored and silver-armored guards into the beast breeding island. Outside the main hall, in the same hall as before, the injured Long Ao was still lying on his side on the ground. He was outside and had no idea what had just happened inside. Tang Poyu walked to Long Ao's side, and as he passed the armored guard, he also took the armored guard into the beast breeding island. Just how big is your spatial storage device? How can you fit something this big inside? Long Ao asked in surprise. Tang Poyu replied, Don't worry about that. Let's go. Leave? What about the 3 spies? Dead. Tang Poyu answer gan li. Upon hearing that 3 spies were dead, Long Ao was visibly surprised. He had vaguely heard wails and cries for help coming from inside, but he was injured and dared not move to investigate. So he had no idea what was actually happening inside. Chapter 46, Leaving the Secret Realm. What happened inside? Long Ao asked. Tang Poyu replied, It's full of traps inside. Once you go in, the traps attack from all directions from the west. If it weren't for Mingyu's high defense, I would have died inside too. Is there nothing else inside? Long Ao was unwilling to give up. He felt there must be some good stuff inside. This underground palace has been protected by multiple layers of security. First, the underground palace is hidden inside an ordinary secret realm, and then various puzzles are required to enter it. Finally, there are puppet guardians like the Ironclad Guardian, which are filled with traps and mechanisms that can easily kill even level 100 summoned beasts. In this situation, Long Ao doesn't believe there's nothing inside. What could it be? Why don't you go in and take a look? But let me tell you, if you lose your life, don't blame me for breaking the contract. Although I promised to take you out alive, If you choose to court death, don't blame me. Tang Poyu said. Tang Poyu would never tell Long Ao what was inside. If he finds out that Tang Poyu has obtained another divine beast, that would be terrible. After he goes back and tells Long Qitian, that guy will be even more jealous. Although Long Ao felt that Tang Poyu must have obtained something good inside, he also knew that now was not the time for him to care about that. At the very least, he should leave this place and save his life. Then Tang Poyu helped Long Ao, and they returned along the same route. Although there were still some confusing and non-existent walls inside the underground palace, Tang Poyu quickly returned to the entrance based on his memory. The most important thing now is to figure out how to get out. When I entered, the stones had activated 5 elements, opening a spatial rift. What should I do if I want to go out now? There are no elemental stones like those outside here. There was nothing there, which put Tang Poyu in a difficult position. How is he going to get out? However, at that moment, a spatial rift suddenly appeared in front of them. What's going on? Tang Poyu asked. At this moment, Long Ao was also puzzled, wondering how a spatial rift had suddenly appeared. Mingyu spoke to Tang Poyu through his consciousness. Perhaps it's because of Li Ruixinya's consciousness. Her last remaining consciousness hasn't completely dissipated, so we're opening up the space now to let us out. Tang Poyu thought about it and realized that this was the only possibility now. Anyway, let's get out of here first. Tang Poyu then helped Long Ao into the spatial rift. When the scene before them returned to normal, they found themselves back in the previous secret realm. The elemental stones they activated upon entering the dungeon were right in front of them. However, the next second, the elemental stone shattered, and with the destruction of the elemental stone, it seemed that the dungeon could no longer be entered. Old Tang, where are you? Tang Poyu, are you there? Just then, Tang Poyu heard Ho Fan and Zhao Yicheng's voices. I'm here, Tang Poyu said. Soon, Ho Fan and Zhao Yicheng came into Tang Poyu's view. The two rushed to Tang Poyu's side. Ho Fan said, Old Tang, where have you been? Why did you suddenly disappear? We're about to leave the secret realm. Hey, Long Ao, what happened to him? Tang Poyu said, I'm sorry. During the battle earlier, the fog was too thick, and I got lost while chasing a summoned beast. I happened to run into Long Ao on the way, and he was injured. Tang Poyu did not reveal the matter of espionage, and Long Ao did not say anything more at this time. Zhao Yicheng said, It's all right. Let's leave the secret realm. If we delay any longer, the entrance to the secret realm might have moved, and we wouldn't know where we'd be if we left. Tang Poyu not dead? Tang Poyu was also surprised, not expecting that so much time had passed since he entered the underground palace. Inside the underground palace, it felt like only a few hours had passed, but outside, a day or two had already gone by. Let's go, let's get out of here first, Tang Poyu said. Old Tang, give him to me, Ho Fan said. Ho Fan then took Long Ao from Tang Poyu's hands and helped him leave. After leaving the secret realm, Long Ao's injury attracted a lot of attention. They couldn't believe that Long Ao, with his strength, could be injured. After all, none of the other students were injured. At most, they only suffered minor scratches during the fight. Despite Long Ao's strength, he suffered such severe injuries. Tang Poyu, it must have been you who ambushed Long Ao. You've always been at odds with our class, so it's not surprising that you would ambush Long Ao. Just then, a girl from Class 3 said, This girl looks like the kind who has a crush on Long Ao. Have you no shame? A sneak attack? Do we need to sneak attack him? Have you forgotten when you were calling him Grandpa? Do we sneak attack him then? Mingyu said with dissatisfaction. Then, Mingyu slapped Long Ao's wound directly, making Long Ao howl in pain. Look at the people in your class. We saved your life, and they still suspect that we hurt you. I should have just left this guy alone and let him die, Ho Fan remarked. At this moment, Long Ao glared at the girl and said, If you can't speak properly, then shut your mouth. I was accidentally injured, and it was Tang Poyu and the others who saved me, gave me medicine, and brought me out. I'm telling you, if I ever hear you say anything bad about them again, I'll tear your mouths apart. Long Ao's words made the girl lower her head, her face turning red and then purple. Long Ao didn't mention the spies and the underground palace because he knew that Tang Poyu didn't seem to want to talk about it. Although Tang Poyu did not ask Long Ao not to tell, Long Ao still decided to keep it a secret and tell Long Qitian when he got back. 2 teachers from the academy then came over and helped Long Ao to receive treatment. Bai Li Jin walked over and said, Well done. At this crucial moment, you didn't put your grudges first, but instead rescued your injured classmate. Your actions will be rewarded by the academy. Tang Poyu said, It's nothing. It's just that he called me Grandpa, and I thought, since everyone else calls me Grandpa, what grandpa would just watch his grandson die? So I just brought him out along. Bailey Jean was speechless. This guy hadn't changed at all. Subsequently, Tang Poyu, Ho Fan, and Zhao Yicheng received praise from the academy. It was called a reward, but it was really just a notification and a commendation to the whole college. Tang Poyu thought the academy would give him some resources or rewards, but he was wrong. And so, the first semester came to an end. Overall, Tang Poyu gained a lot from this final exam exploration of the secret realm. 1 divine beast and 3 puppets. Although the puppets are broken, there should be a way to repair them later. Next comes a vacation that will last for more than a month. Chapter 47, The Mythical Beast Turned into a Little Girl. Nighttime, the Long family home. Inside, Long Ao's room. How are your injuries? Long Chitian asked Long Ao. Long Ao replied, I've used some high-quality recovery medicine, and the wound has healed a lot. It will be fully recovered in another 2 days. Long Chitian nodded, then asked, What happened inside the secret realm? There shouldn't be any danger inside this time. I already checked it when the entrance to this secret realm was moved to our town. There's nothing inside, so there shouldn't be any danger. That's why I agreed to let your academy use it to familiarize students with the structure of the secret realm. Long Ao then told Long Chitian what had happened inside the secret realm. Upon hearing this, Long Chitian's face turned serious. He said, Damn it, I didn't expect there to be a spy from Voy infiltrated. Because there wasn't much left in this secret realm, I hadn't paid much attention, but I didn't expect a spy to take advantage of the situation. Dad, I think Tang Poyu must have gotten something good inside. That underground palace is hidden deep within a secret realm. With so many traps and puppet guards, it's impossible that it's empty, Long Ao said. Long Chitian nodded and said, that little brat Tang Poyu must have gotten something good inside. Dad, kill him. He won't say what he got, but we'll take it for ourselves after we kill him. A ruthless glint flashed in Long Ao's eyes. Long Chitian said, It's not the right time yet. You haven't gotten the method to control the divine beast from him. However, he saved you this time, so you can use this opportunity to get closer to him. Gain his trust, and you'll have a chance to get the method to control the divine beast from him. Long Ao nodded and said, I understand, Dad. Don't worry, I won't let you down. Okay, then you should get some rest. Long Chitian then got up and left. Watching Long Chitian's departing figure, a gloomy look appeared in Long Ao's eyes. At the same time, Tang Poyu sighed. After dinner, he returned to his room and then went to the beast breeding island with Mingyu. Sai, where are the void beasts? They arrived at the place where the void beast slept, but the surroundings were empty, and there was no sign of the void beast anywhere. Mingyu rubbed his eyes and said, She's gone. Has she woken up? Find it, Tang Poyu said. Tang Poyu and Mingyu then searched for the whereabouts of the void beast on the island. However, the island is quite large, making it rather troublesome to find. After a while, Mingyu said, Damn it, that guy must have been scared when he woke up and found himself in this unfamiliar place. So he probably jumped into the sea and ran away. Do you think everyone is as stupid as you? Tang Poyu said. I'm not stupid. You're the stupid one, Mingyu said. Upon hearing this, Tang Poyu pinched Mingyu's face and said, What did you say? Who's stupid? Mingyu said, You're stupid. You already have a contract with the void beast. Why don't you just summon it to your side? Tang Poyu released Mingyu. Mingyu rubbed her cheeks, which had been pinched red. A moment of silence fell, a somewhat awkward silence descending. Tang Poyu hadn't genuinely anticipated this. Through Beast Breeding Island, he had already formed a contract with the void beasts, allowing him to summon them directly to his side. Yet he had just spent so much time searching, traversing the entire island. Haha, do you feel stupid? Haha. I don't know why, but I suddenly feel a sense of intellectual superiority, haha. Mingyu said smugly. With a snap, Tang Poyu tapped Mingyu on the head. Shut up. Tang Poyu then summoned a void beast. As the summoning took effect, a crack appeared in the space in front of Tang Poyu. The next second, a small, fair hand reached out from the crack. Then came a small, chubby, white foot. Finally, a small head peeked out. As the spatial rift disappeared, a little girl appeared before Tang Poyu. Holy crap! Is this something you can only watch for free? Tang Poyu quickly took off his outer garment and threw it to Mingyu. The girl was completely naked. Mingyu quickly ran to the little girl's side and wrapped the clothes around her body. At this moment, Tang Poyu carefully examined the girl. She was small, only about 60 or 70 centimeters tall. She had large, watery eyes with purple irises. Her light purple hair reached down to her calves. It has a pair of bright red horns on its head. As Tang Poyu sized her up, she was also sizing him up. What's going on? How did the void beast turn into a little girl? Can this little brat even fight? Tang Poyu said. Mingyu replied. Most demonic beasts or summoned beasts with divine beast bloodlines possess the ability to transform into human form after entering their juvenile stage. This has nothing to do with evolution. It seems to be an ability inherent to divine beasts. As he spoke, Mingyu pinched the void beast's cheek and laughed. Ha ha, little brat, from now on you're my follower. You have to do whatever I tell you to do, understand? It seemed the little girl didn't like having her cheeks pinched. The next second, she vanished from spot. When she reappeared, she was already above and behind Mingyu. Then with a thud, she stretched out her chubby little foot and kicked Mingyu in the head. The next second, the void beast crashed to the ground, clutching its chubby little feet with teary eyes. Good grief, this kick landed on Mingyu's head, but Mingyu was fine. Instead, it hurt her own foot. Ha ha ha, you idiot, you kicked me, does it hurt? Ha ha, it should hurt. At this moment, Mingyu was even more smug, rubbing the little face of the void beast with both hands, his face full of pride. With a slap, Tang Poyu tapped Mingyu on the head and said, "Don't bully her." "No, I just want to talk to her about our feelings." "Is this how you communicate?" Then Tang Poyu squatted down in front of the void beast and asked, "Do you still remember your past?" The void beast looked at Tang Poyu and then spoke, "I don't remember. I woke up here and I don't remember anything. But I know you. You are my master, and we have a contract." The void beast's voice was childish and sweet. "Okay, it's okay if you don't remember, as long as you recognize me." Tang Poyu looked at the information on the void beast. Name, void beast. Race, phantom god race. Attribute, space. Bloodline, divine beast level. Level 1. Attributes, strength 100, agility 100, defense 100. Skills, spatial displacement, divine realm. Master, Tang Poyu. The level remains unchanged, is still level 1. However, her initial attributes are exceptionally high. It's worth noting that Zhao Yiqing's three-tailed fox's stats didn't exceed 100 even when it was around level 10. Meanwhile, the void beast, at only level 1, already has stats over 100. Chapter 48 Divine Artifact 9 Nether. Tang Poyu then gave some experience crystals to the space monsters. However, the experience crystals that Tang Poyu had accumulated over the past few days could only barely raise her level by 1. As expected, ordinary experience crystals are of little use to divine beasts. You should know that if it were an ordinary summoned beast, with so many experience crystals, it would probably be able to level up to level 20 or 30. As expected, divine beasts don't need ordinary experience crystals. They require more combat experience to fight against high-level, high bloodline, and high-race monsters or summoned beasts. Tang Poyu then looked at the information on the space monsters. Name, void beast. Race, phantom god race. Attribute, space. Bloodline, divine beast level. Level 2. Attributes, strength 150, agility 150, defense 150. Skills, spatial displacement, divine realm. Master, Tang Poyu. Her 3 main stats increase by 50 points at level 1. That's not bad. With that, she only needs 20 or 30 to reach a combat power roughly equivalent to a level 100 summoned beast. No, we shouldn't talk about combat power here. We should talk about stats. In terms of combat power, with her divine skills, she's unmatched by summoned beasts or exotic beasts with similar stats. Tang Poyu then looked at her skill descriptions. Spatial displacement was self-explanatory. Tang Poyu could use it too. It allowed for short-distance spatial movement, making it a very useful offensive and defensive skill. When that little girl kicked Mingyu just now, she used spatial displacement to instantly move to Mingyu's upper and lower back. God's domain is a domain skill. Expanding the divine realm enhances all spatial skills. For example, spatial displacement consumes significantly less resources and doubles the distance within the divine realm. As for other skills, we don't know yet, since the space beasts haven't even comprehended or learned them. Let's buy her an outfit tomorrow, Tang Poyu said to Mingyu. Mingyu said, transform divine beasts don't need that. Their scales and fur can transform into clothes at their will. These are much sturdier than ordinary clothes. Look at my clothes. They're made from my scales and they'll never tear. The only possibility that she didn't transform into clothes is that she's an exhibitionist. After hearing this, Tang Poyu said to the spatial magical beast, "Can you conjure up your own clothes like Mingyu?" The space monster looked at Mingyu, then at Tang Poyu's clothes wrapped around her, and said, "This is uncomfortable. Don't wear clothes. It's uncomfortable. See? I told you so, you exhibitionist." It's not that she can't, it's that she doesn't want to. Actually, many demonic beasts don't want to wear clothes when they transform or evolve into human form, since they're not used to it. Mingyu said, Tang Poyu said to the spatial magical beast, "If you transform into human form, you need to wear clothes. Or you can remain in your divine beast form." After hearing this, the spatial beast fell into thought. A little over a minute later, a purple light appeared on her body. After the light disappeared, a dress appeared on her. The dress had a starry sky pattern, and the starry sky was actually moving. This is really interesting. A piece of clothing with patterns that actually move. This is the first time Tang Poyu has ever seen anything like it. That's fine. Now, let me give you a name. Tang Poyu thought for a moment. Normally, summoned beasts don't need names, but once they take human form, they need a proper name. Lyrixinia? That's her past. And Lyrixinia said that although this is her reincarnation, she won't become her. In that case, she'll abandon her former name. Mingyu, what name should we give her? Tang Poyu asked. Mingyu looked at the spatial magical beast and said, "She took your surname, Tang Tsuha. How about that? Very down to earth." With a loud slap, Tang Poyu punched Mingyu on the head. "How did you even come up with that? Looks like I'll have to change your name. You'll be called Tang Suehua from now on." No. Mingyu kept shaking her head. "See, do not do to others what you would not have them do to you." Mingyu stuck out her tongue. Tang Poyu thought for a moment and said, "Space Beast, I'll call you Kong Kong, Tang Kong Kong." Mingyu said with a look of disdain, "Your naming skills aren't very good either. They're not as good as my Tang Suehua. Roll. Sai, I am rolling." With that, Mingyu lay on the ground and rolled around a few times. "Empty," the spatial beast whispered. "So, if you don't like it, I'll think about it some more," Tang Poyu said. "You can like Tang Kong Kong Deo." Choosing a name is the most troublesome thing, but she has no objections, so this is it. Then Tang Poyu remembered that after Tang Kong Kong was entered into the contract, the beast breeding island system opened up new exchange rewards and a kill reward points mode. Tang Poyu first checked what items could be redeemed with his points. In addition to the previously available surprise blind boxes, power pills, and fragments of the sky's memory, some new items have been added. A divine power pill costs 5,000 points, and 9 netherworlds costs 100 points, can only be exchanged once. 9999 fragments of Earth's memory and 1,000 map fragments are also available. The divine power pill is a top-grade recovery medicine with excellent effects, but unfortunately it's too expensive. With 5,000 points, Tang Poyu thought about how the system's usual task options only gave a few dozen points. How long would it take to exchange this for a divine power pill? To Tang Poyu's surprise, map fragments could now be exchanged for points, though they were a bit expensive. The fragments of memory on the Earth, like the fragments of memory in the sky, each have 9,999 points. Moreover, the introductions are almost complete. Contractual partner. One day you will welcome a complete king. Initially, Tang Poyu didn't know the purpose of these memory fragments, but now that he had Tang Kong Kong, a spatial magical beast, and formerly the god who ruled the Earth, could it be that these Earth memory fragments were meant for her use? And are the fragments of memory in the sky meant for Mingyu? That should be the case, but Tang Poyu doesn't have that many points right now. I currently only have a little over 100 points. The only new item that can be exchanged is 9 Netherworld. 9 Netherworld was a gauntlet. Tang Poyu examined it. Name, 9 Netherworlds. Grade, Divine Artifact. Ability, 9 Nether Space, which will play a role in the hands of the demon god who controls space. What kind of ability is this? Tang Poyu didn't understand what the purpose of these gauntlets was either. But it's obvious these boxing gloves aren't for him. They're probably Tang Kong Kong's equipment. 100 points is a very cheap price, and Tang Poyu exchanged for it without hesitation. No matter what, it's a powerful artifact. 100 points is a steal. Finally, Tang Poyu began to study the kill reward point system. Finally, after reading the introduction to the Beast Breeding Island system, I learned that killing summoned beasts and monsters would earn corresponding points rewards. The formula for rewarding points for summoned beasts and monsters is summoned beast level x 10x bloodline multiplier. For example, killing a level 100 ordinary bloodline summon or beast will earn you 100 times 10 times 1 is equal to 1,000 points. If it is a level 100 rare bloodline beast or summon beast, killing Diong will grant 100 times 10 times 1.2 is equal to 1,200 points. Finally, this mode has a warning. Killing for the sake of killing or killing for the sake of points will not earn you any points. The meaning of this warning is quite clear. It is a warning to Tang Poyu not to kill indiscriminately for the sake of points. Chapter 49, Is This Guy Normal? The next day, Tang Poyu, Zhao Yiqing, and Ho Fan had a gathering at a restaurant in the town. Old Tang, little Chang Sheng, how are you going to spend the rest of the holiday? Ho Fan asked. Ho Fan invited the two of them over today, seemingly to make some arrangements for their vacation. Zhao Yiqing replied, tomorrow I'm going to Qatar with my dad. He plans to gradually expand into Xihua City. So, this trip to Qatar is to see if there are any special summoned beasts there that we can bring over. I'll treat it as a trip to broaden my horizons. Wow, that's impressive. I've never even been abroad. The biggest place I've ever been is Xihua City, Ho Fandao said. I heard Qatar is very poor and not very interesting, Zhao Yiqing said. Ho Fan looked at Tang Poyu and asked, Old Tang, what about you? What are your plans? Tang Poyu replied, I plan to go to Xihua City to see if there is any way to upgrade the Divine Beast level. After hearing this, Ho Fan said, Mingyu's level is very strange. It's completely invisible. What are you planning to do about it? Tang Poyu shook his head and said, I don't know. Actually, Tang Poyu didn't want to raise Mingyu's level, since Mingyu's current situation made it impossible for him to raise his level. Tang Poyu wanted to raise Tang Kongkong's level. However, he hasn't told Ho Fan and Zhao Yiqing about Tang Kongkong yet, since he now has another divine beast by his side. He doesn't know how to explain it to them, and he doesn't want too many people to know about it. Go to the Adventurers Guild. There are plenty of quests there. You can earn spirit coins, and if you come across any quests like bounty hunting, you can gain summoned beast experience through battles, Ho Fan said. Adventurers Guild? Tang Poyu was somewhat puzzled. Ho Fan said, Old Tang, you don't know? Although adventurers are only found in cities and large towns, how could you not know about such a famous organization as the Adventurers Guild? Tang Poyu smiled awkwardly, then used the Spirit Control Terminal to check the Adventurers Guild. Once you register as an adventurer, you can accept commissions, and you can accept commissions directly on the Spirit Terminal, which is very convenient. Joining the Adventurers Guild might be a good idea. You can make money and fight. I've decided to join the Adventurers Guild. What about you? Will you come with me? Tang Poyu asked. Ho Fan replied, Old Tang, I won't go with you. I went to see Teacher Bailey yesterday and asked if she could help me train more during the holidays. She agreed, so I'll be going to see Teacher Bailey for training every day. Good grief, he prioritizes women over friends. I thought he hadn't made any plans for his vacation when he invited them out today, but it turns out he had already planned it all along. All right then, Tang Poyu said. That evening, Tang Poyu told his parents that he was going to stay in Xihua City for about a month. Tang Poyu's parents did not object to his decision. The next day, Tang Poyu set off with Mingyu and Tang Kongkong. Tang Kongkong didn't like staying on the island all the time, and Tang Poyu told her to find somewhere to kill time, but she didn't know where to go since this world was still very unfamiliar to her. So she stayed by Tang Poyu's side. Tang Poyu also bought her a hat to cover the horns on her head. Without the horns on her head, she looks no different from an ordinary human little girl. It wasn't that Tang Poyu was afraid of Tang Kongkong's summoned beast identity being discovered. It's just that humanoid summoned beasts like this usually attract a lot of attention. Many people, upon seeing her, would be unable to resist checking their spirit control terminal to see her information. Tang Poyu didn't want them to attract too much attention, even though he had hidden information about Tang Kongkong and Mingyu. He figured he should avoid as much trouble as possible. Yulong Town is under the jurisdiction of Xihua City, and it is not far from Xihua City, only about 20 or 30 kilometers away. Xihua City is also one of the 5 largest cities in Dongyao Kingdom. The 5 cities are Dongyan City in the east, Xihua City in the west, Nanjun City in the south, and Bailin City in the north. Finally, in the heart of these 4 cities lies the capital, the main city of Dongyao. What a big city. You're with little Kong Kong. I'm off. Don't call me unless it's absolutely necessary. Bye-bye. Having just arrived in Xihua City, Mingyu left after saying this. Tang Poyu was speechless. He could guess where this scumbag dragon could go. It's nothing more than going to the casinos in the city. Tang Poyu estimates that Mingyu will incur a lot of gambling debts during his time in Xihua City. Tang Poyu didn't bother with her. Anyway, she was shameless and had a thick skin. There was no way to control her. But she can handle these things herself. If she can't pay back the money, at worst she'll get a beating. Anyway, with her defenses, she wouldn't even feel a beating. After that, only Tang Poyu and Tang Kong were together. Based on the Adventurers Guild displayed on the Spirit Control Terminal, Tang Poyu went straight there. Adventurers Guild Branch, Xihua City, Donyao Kingdom. Soon, Tang Poyu and Tang Kong arrived at their destination. Upon entering the Union Hall, I found it filled with people. Some of these people came to handle business, while others came to accept tasks. Although once you join the Adventurers Guild, you can accept quests through the Spirit Terminal. However, many people still prefer to pick up their loved ones on site. The reason is simple. Some of the more capable people can show off by accepting tasks on site. After all, the girls in the Adventurers Guild are all quite pretty. Many people who come here to accept quests are probably hoping to hook up with the girls in the Adventurers Guild. Tang Poyu arrived at the Union's front desk. Hello, how can I help you? The receptionist was a pretty young woman in her early 20s with short hair, wearing the Adventurers Guild's light green uniform. Tang Poyu replied, I would like to join the Adventurers Guild. What are the requirements? Anyone who is a beast tamer or puppeteer can register over there. The receptionist pointed to a window on the left. Thanks. You're welcome. There were other people at the window, and Tang Poyu waited for a while before it was his turn. Hello, would you like to join the Adventurers Guild? Yes. Please enable your identity information on the Spirit Control Terminal. Name, Tang Poyu. Gender, male. Age, 16. Place of origin, Yulong Town, Xihua City, Donyao Kingdom. Beast taming level, beginner beast tamer. Summon beats, Mingyu, Dan Gong. Are Mingyu and Tang Kong the same summoned beast? No, there are two, Tang Poyu replied. The girl from the Adventurers Guild stared at Tang Poyu with disbelief. 16 years old, and he already had two summoned beasts? Was this guy normal? At first, the girl thought that Tang Poyu had named his summoned beasts Mingyu, Duanhao, Tang Kong, but she didn't expect that they were actually two summoned beasts. Chapter 50, I'm very angry. Two girls looked at Tang Poyu with disbelief. What's with that expression? Are those two summoned beasts strange? Tang Poyu asked. Even without the girl, he quickly came to his senses, perhaps realizing that what he had done was somewhat impolite. It is indeed somewhat unbelievable that someone as young as 16 could possess two summoned beasts. After all, the required mental strength increases exponentially with each contract signed with a summoned beast. Even after entering an advanced beast taming academy, only a very small percentage of students are able to sign contracts with two summoned beasts upon graduation. Many people may only have the ability to form a contract with one summoned beast in their entire lives. Actually, taking Bailey Jean as an example, her talent isn't particularly strong, but it's not particularly bad either. However, she only has one summoned beast right now. Perhaps she has the ability to sign a second one, but she hasn't encountered a suitable one yet. I'll register you right away, the girl said. While registering, the girl would occasionally glance up at Tang Poyu. Registration was completed quickly. Hello, your registration is complete. You are now an F-rank adventurer. Your information has been recorded in your Spirit Terminal. You can now accept quests through the Spirit Terminal or at adventure guilds in various locations. Generally, the Spirit Terminal will confirm the completion of most quests. For example, for a raid quest, the Spirit Terminal will confirm the target's death after defeating it. However, for some item-finding quests, you will need to deliver the found item to the Adventurer Guild where the quest was posted to complete the quest. The quest reward will be directly transferred to your Spirit Terminal account. Okay, thank you, Tang Poyu said. Tang Poyu opened his file again and looked at it. Name, Tang Poyu. Gender, male. Age, 16. Place of origin, Yulong Town, Xihua City, Donyao Kingdom. Beast taming level, beginner beast tamer. Adventurer rank, F. Summon beasts, Mingyu, Dan Gong. An additional adventurer rank has been added, ranging from F to SSS. Upon reaching SSS rank, one can compete for the title of Adventurer King, of which only 10 can be claimed. To obtain the title of Adventurer King, one must continuously undertake highly difficult missions to ensure that the title is not stolen. Of course, the higher your level, the more benefits you will receive in the Adventurers Guild. The Adventurer King holds an even more extraordinary position within the Adventurers Guild. However, Tang Poyu wasn't interested in anything like the Adventure King. He just wanted to take on some raiding missions, fight, let Tang Kong Kong gain experience, and get kill point for himself. At this moment, Tang Poyu discovered the Adventurers Guild option in the Spirit Control Terminal. After entering, he could see some of the operations available there, accepting tasks, submitting tasks, etc. However, when Tang Poyu wanted to accept missions, he found that he was not able to accept many of them. Beautiful lady, why can't I accept many of my missions? Tang Poyu asked the younger sister again. The younger sister replied, every quest has a level. Adventurers cannot accept quests that are one level higher than their current level. For example, if you're currently an F-rank adventurer, you can only accept F-rank and E-rank quests. However, once your adventurer level reaches S-rank, there will be no more quest level restrictions. Good grief, this thing even has level restrictions. Tang Poyu looked at the E-level and F-level missions, which were all about finding lost cats and dogs and moving goods. Tang Poyu joined the Adventurers Guild simply to take on some raiding quests. But the lowest ranking raiding quests these days are D grade. What's the point? If you want to take on high-level quests, you can join someone else's team. A quest can be completed by multiple people, and the experience and rewards are shared. That way, as long as one person in your team reaches the required level to accept the quest, you're good to go. Look over there. There are people forming teams, and there are also people posting team-up information on the Spirit Control Terminal. Seeing Tang Poyu's expression, the younger sister guessed what he was thinking. Thanks. Tang Poyu hurriedly ran to the team-up area on the side of the hall. Anyone want to join me for the C-rank mission to defeat the Wind and Moon Wolf Demon? Seeing someone recruiting teammates for the expedition, Tang Poyu quickly went over. I joined. The three people on the other side, 2 men and 1 woman, glanced at Tang Poyu, and then the girl said in a disdainful tone, You? Judging from your age, you should still be a student at the Intermediate Beast Taming Academy, right? What's your adventurer level? Rank F, Tang Poyu replied. When Tang Poyu said that his adventure level was F, not only did the 3 of them laugh, but everyone around them also laughed. Kid, why don't you go do some cat and dog finding quests? You're an F-rank adventurer, and you want to do D-rank quests? Are you kidding me? The other person said sarcastically. An adventurer's F rank doesn't necessarily mean I'm weak. I just recently joined the Adventurers Guild, Tang Poyu said. Kid, how strong can you be at your age? What level is your summoned beast? Level 2. When everyone heard that Tang Poyu's summoned beast was at level 2, they laughed even harder. You're not allowed to laugh. Just then, Tang Kong Kong spoke. She was very angry to see everyone laughing at Tang Poyu. Oh, this little girl's angry? What's wrong? Does she think we can't laugh at her cooking? Because Tang Poyu put a hat on Tang Kong Kong, covering the horns on her head, no one realized she was a summoned beast and thought she was just an ordinary little girl with Tang Poyu. Like Tang Kong Kong, after transforming into human form, she had very few wild beast features. Only the horns on her head remained. Even Mingyu, besides horns, also had a dragon tail. Tang Kong Kong looked at everyone, his eyes filled with anger. Kong Kong left. Just then, Tang Poyu pulled Tang Kong Kong aside. Master, why don't you teach them a lesson? I'm very angry, Tang Kong Kong said. Tang Poyu laughed. Getting angry over such a small thing? What will you do when you encounter even more trouble in the future? All right, it seems the Adventurers Guild isn't suitable for us. Let's go look elsewhere. Oh, and don't call me Master. What should I call you? Whatever, just don't call me Master. Tang Kong Kong thought for a moment and said, You? Okay, that's settled then. Hello. Just then, a woman in her 20s walked over. The woman was quite attractive, with short hair and a height of about 1.6 meters. What's the matter? Tang Poyu asked. Do you accept escort missions? Escort missions are usually issued by caravans. In this world, the fastest mode of transportation is currently the airship. However, airships cannot carry many large cargoes. Therefore, merchants usually transport goods by having them carried by summoned beasts to their destination. During this process, there's a high chance of encountering monster attacks or bandit raids. Therefore, many caravans will issue missions before setting off to recruit adventurers to protect them. However, escort missions often involve long journeys, sometimes taking several days to cross cities. They are tiring missions with relatively low rewards, so few people are willing to take them on. Chapter 51: The Conspiracy Behind the Escort Mission. Tang Poyu didn't care about the reward. He was happy as long as he could fight alongside the caravan. Where to? Tang Poyu asked. The woman replied, Kata. Upon hearing this, Tang Poyu was slightly surprised. Kata. Good heavens, they're actually going abroad. Even by airship, it would take 2 days to get from Dongyao to Qatar. If you were to travel with a caravan, it would take more than a month. Tang Poyu's vacation is only a little over a month. If that's the case, he won't be able to do anything else on this order. If no battles occurred along the way, then it would be a huge loss. After all, Tang Poyu's goal was to fight, gain experience, and earn points. Therefore, for Tang Poyu, taking on raid missions is more worthwhile. He gains experience, points, and even spirit coins as a reward. Therefore, Tang Poyu planned to refuse. He didn't want to spend all his vacation time on this. In the end, he didn't even get a single battle, and all he got was a small amount of spirit coins. Please select from the following options. 1. Escort missions are thankless and exhausting. Refuse her. Reward. All summoned beasts on Beast Breeding Island receive 20 points to agility. 2. Since I'm bored anyway, I'll agree to her request and reward her by raising the level of all her summoned beasts by 1. Tang Poyu was speechless. He was about to refuse when the system suddenly offered an option. Judging from this option, the system really wants him to go. After all, Tang Kong Kong can increase his 3 stats by 50 by leveling up, which is not comparable to 20 points of agility. However, there was one thing that left Tang Poyu speechless. Damn it, now that the kill reward points and map fragment exchange functions are available, regular optional missions no longer reward points or map fragments. There's something I'm curious about. Why are you looking for me? You just saw me, an F-rank adventurer who just joined the Adventurers Guild. Other teams don't want me, and now you want to take on your escort mission. And it's to Kata a long way. Shouldn't you hire someone more capable? Tang Poyu asked the woman. The woman smiled and said, Actually, it's like this. As adventurers escorting the caravan, we've already assembled our team. We even have 2 intermediate beast tamers in our group. What we lack now is logistics. We need some people to help with odd jobs along the way. The pay isn't bad. See, I'll share this quest with you. As she spoke, the woman shared the entrustment with Tang Poyu on the spirit control terminal. Tang Poyu glanced at it. F-rank mission, caravan escort. Location, starting point Kata, destination Kata. Reward, 100,000 spirit coins. The departure point and destination were both Qatar, leading Tang Poyu to believe it was an error in the data entry when the mission was issued. 100,000 a month is indeed quite a high price, Tang Poyu said. That's right. Perhaps for high-level beast tamers or adventurers, 100,000 a month is nothing to them. However, for ordinary beast tamers or adventurers, their earning power is actually quite limited. Many people earning 10,000 spirit coins a month already surpasses most people's earnings. Therefore, 100,000 yuan in just over a month is still quite a lot for ordinary people. It wasn't just over a month. What? Tang Poyu was somewhat puzzled. According to his plan, it would take more than a month to get from here to Qatar. Little brother, look, the departure point is Qatar. We'll take an airship to Qatar first, and then we'll be escorted there. So, the actual time spent will only be about a week. Tang Poyu has already earned 100,000 in about a week. Goodness, such a high price. It turns out that the origin was not entered incorrectly. Of course, 100,000 is not a high price for Tang Poyu, but it can be considered very high at the normal commission price. If that's the case, why not look for someone in Qatar? The woman said, You know, Qatar is quite poor, and the place we're going to is rather remote. Only their main city has an adventurers guild. It's very difficult to find people once we get to Qatar. So, we'd rather spend a little more money here than risk any unnecessary trouble later. I see. Okay, I'll accept this commission. With that, Tang Poyu accepted the commission on the spirit control terminal. The woman smiled and said, All right, young man, we're leaving the day after tomorrow. We'll meet at the airship station in the city at 8 a.m. the day after tomorrow. We'll send you the exact meeting point later via the spirit terminal. By the way, my name is Hu Ting. Nice to meet you. As she spoke, the woman extended her hand and made a handshake gesture. It's a pleasure working with you. Tang Poyu shook hands with the woman. The woman then left the Adventurers Guild, her smile instantly turning grim the moment she stepped outside. She took out a handkerchief and wiped her hand, which she had just shaken with Tang Poyu, with a look of disgust. She then muttered, These guys are all thinking about making a fortune. Once we get to Kata, you'll all have your share of the profits. You'll just be helping us make money. Congratulations! You have completed the mission. All summoned beasts on Beast Breeding Island have leveled up by 1. Tang Poyu looked at Tang Kong Kong's information. Name, Void Beast Tang Kong Kong. Race, Phantom God Race. Attribute, Space. Bloodline, Divine Beast Level. Level 3. Attributes, Strength 200, Agility 200, Defense 200. Skills, Spatial Displacement, Divine Realm. Master, Tang Poyu. Not bad, it's level 3 now, and the growth of its 3 stats looks quite good. Are we going to Qatar? Tang Kong Kong asked. Tang Poyu laughed. Anyway, I'm bored, so I'll go play some games and see what that woman named Hu Ting is up to. Tang Poyu actually had some doubts about Hu Ting. It was true that Qatar was poor, but precisely because it was poor and had a large population, labor was the least valuable resource there. So if you're just hiring some logistic staff and doing miscellaneous tasks, you could easily hire dozens of people there, even if it's only 10,000, let alone 100,000. Now that they're offering such a high price to hire people here, Tang Poyu really wanted to know what they were up to. Tang Poyu then left the Adventurers Guild with Tang Kong Kong. Stop! Don't let her get away. Stop! Help! Help! Someone killed someone. No, someone killed a dragon. Just then, Tang Poyu heard a familiar voice. Turning around, I saw, sure enough, it was Mingyu. At that moment, she was being chased by several burly men. It's obvious that she lost money at the casino and is now being chased and beaten. He's a gambler, Tang Kong Kong said. Over the past 2 days, Tang Kong Kong has come to understand Mingyu's personality quite well. She knows that Mingyu is a gambling addict, so Tang Kong Kong usually just calls her the gambling addict. Pretend you don't know her. Ignore her. She's thick-skinned. You can't hurt her even if you hit her. Tang Poyu pulled Tang Kong Kong aside, turning their backs to the direction Mingyu came from. Chapter 52. Her looks alone are still quite striking. Oh, you're all here. Even if Tang Poyu tried to hide, Mingyu spotted him. After all, dragons have excellent eyesight. Mingyu ran up to Tang Poyu and Tang Kong Kong. By this time, the burly men had caught up. Run! Why did you stop running? One of the burly men said. Mingyu pushed Tang Poyu forward and said, You're asking him for money. He's my master. Solve it yourself, Tang Poyu said. Mingyu said pitifully, It was you who wouldn't let me sell the dragon gall. Otherwise, I wouldn't be short of money. Hey kid, this summoned beast is yours, isn't it? The burly man in the lead asked Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu replied, Although I don't want to admit it, that's really the case. That makes things easier. She just lost 100,000 at our casino. Since you're her owner, you can return the money. 100,000? You've only been in the city for less than 2 hours, and you've already lost 100,000? Tang Poyu said. Hee bad luck. You still have the nerve to laugh. With that, Tang Poyu punched Mingyu in the stomach. Mingyu clutched his stomach and squatted on the ground. Tang Poyu didn't want to cause any more trouble, so he still helped Mingyu pay off the 100,000 spirit coins. After all, gambling was legal in this world. Well, not exactly legal, since there were no explicit regulations against gambling. 100,000, right? I'll transfer it to you, Tang Poyu said. Tang Poyu then transferred 100,000 spirit coins to the leader of the group through the spirit terminal. When you get back, take good care of your summoned beasts. Okay. The burly men then left. Mingyu stood up, looked around, and smiled. I'm leaving. Can't you just stop messing with me? I just took on a commission that would take a week or 2 to earn 100,000, and you made me lose it all in one go. Tang Poyu said, pinching Mingyu's face. It hurts. I was wrong. I won't do it again next time. I'll see if you dare to do it again next time, Tang Poyu said. He then released Mingyu, since he didn't have a good way to deal with her. She was the type to do nothing, like a dead pig unafraid of boiling water. What could he do to her? Hit her? She won't feel any pain, but your hand will definitely hurt. Hee, I'm hungry, Mingyu said. Looking at the time, it was almost noon, so Tang Poyu took Mingyu and Tang Kong Kong to lunch. I found a nice restaurant and ordered a few of their signature dishes. Sister, why are we eating at a restaurant today? And eating such good food, do we have money now? While he was eating, Tang Poyu heard a childish voice coming from the next table. Tang Poyu also went to take a look. At the next table was a girl who looked to be about 17 or 18 years old, and she was accompanied by 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. The 3 children all looked to be no more than 10 years old, with the youngest being only 2 or 3 years old. My sister landed a big job. She only needs to work for a little over a week, and she'll earn 100,000 spirit coins. So today's a pre-holiday celebration. Aren't you happy? Happy. Is my sister going to be gone for more than a week? The oldest boy asked. The girl nodded and said, Yes, I'll go the day after tomorrow. Anan, you're the older brother, so you need to take good care of your younger siblings while I'm gone. I've already told Grandma Zhang next door that you'll eat at her place every day during this time. I'll buy you some good food when your older sister comes back. Yes. The little boy named Anan nodded vigorously. A little over a week, 100,000. These two words caught Tang Poyu's attention. Could it be that she had also accepted that escort commission? What are you staring at the girl next door for? She's all right looking, but not as pretty as Zhao Yicheng. Although Zhao Yicheng can be a bit arrogant at times, putting that aside, her looks are undeniably striking. Mingyu said loudly at this moment. She spoke so loudly that she was afraid no one in the entire restaurant would hear her. Her words immediately drew everyone's attention. The girl at the next table also looked at Tang Poyu awkwardly. Tang Poyu wished he could disappear into a crack in the ground. This scumbag dragon even tricked people when it came to eating. He should learn from Kong Kong, who ate his food quietly. Sister, the one with the horns, said that the brother next to you is peeking at you. One of the girl's younger sisters said. Tang Poyu was truly ashamed. Unlike Mingyu, he was not shameless. I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by it. So, it seems you accepted the Chamber of Commerce's escort commission because of what you were talking about. Tang Poyu asked. Upon hearing this, the girl quickly nodded and said, Yes, did you answer it too? Yes. Tang Poyu note that? At this moment, the girl smiled and said, That's great. At least I'll know someone on the way, so I won't be bored. Hello, my name is Gu Xiao Xiao. Hello, my name is Tang Poyu. Is she your summoned beast? Humanoid, or perhaps a dragon? She looks very powerful. At this moment, Gu Xiao Xiao's gaze fell upon Mingyu. Tang Poyu said, Don't be fooled by her appearance. Not all humanoids are powerful, and all dragons are formidable. Hey, what are you saying? I'm a sky dragon. Mingyu said proudly, hands on her hips. Yes, sky dragon, sky dragon. Tang Poyu then chatted with Gu Xiao Xiao for a while. Gu Xiao Xiao's parents were originally members of the Adventurers Guild, and they made a living by taking on adventure missions. However, the couple sacrificed their lives while on a mission a year ago, leaving behind Gu Xiao Xiao and his 3 younger siblings. To take care of her younger siblings, she gave up her studies, which should have been at the Advanced Spirit Master Academy, and raised them on her own. Because I was unemployed and didn't know what I could do, I joined the Adventurers Guild, which didn't have high requirements. However, with her adventure level, she could only take on low-level quests and barely made ends meet with her younger siblings. Unexpectedly, I got lucky today and landed this escort job. A little over a week, 100,000 yuan. That's basically 2 years' worth of Gu Xiao Xiao's income. Gu Xiao Xiao and her younger brother and sister-in-law finished eating and left. Actually, they hadn't ordered much food, so they finished quickly. After Gu Xiao Xiao left, Mingyu asked, So you're going to Qatar? Tang Poyu said, Yeah, I have nothing to do anyway. Do you want to come with me? Mingyu shook his head and said, No, it's hot and poor in Qatar. I didn't want to go back a second time after going once. I'll just stay here. Just call me if you need anything. Fine, if you don't go, I'll save myself the trouble. But let me tell you, if you stay here, figure out your own gambling debts. I don't want the first thing I do when I get back is pay off your gambling debts. Hee. Mingyu scratched his head and gave an awkward laugh. Chapter 53, First Arrival in Qatar. After dinner, Tang Poyu took Tang Kong Kong for a walk in the city to buy some daily necessities and put them in the warehouse on the beast breeding island. After all, the environment in Qatar is quite harsh, and Tang Poyu has done some research on it. If you want to be comfortable when you get there, you need to prepare some things in advance. As for Mingyu, he disappeared after eating, which Tang Poyu was already used to. 2 days later, Xihua City Airship Station. On the very night that Tang Poyu accepted the commission, the other party had already sent him the specific meeting location through the Spirit Control Terminal. When we arrived at the meeting point, wow, there were quite a few people there. Tang Poyu looked around and saw that there were more than 20 people. These people are all quite young, mostly around 20 years old. Judging from their age, they're just some beast tamers who are not very strong. Those who aren't strong enough can't get good quests from the Adventurers Guild. But now that this quest is offering so many, it's naturally attracting these low-level adventurers. Tang Poi. Just then, Tang Poyu heard someone calling him. When I turned around, it was Gu Xiao Xiao. Hello, Gu Xiao Xiao. Hello. Gu Xiao Xiao approached Tang Poyu's side. Tang Poyu said, We'll be gone for more than a week. Have you made arrangements for your younger brother and sister-in-law? Gu Xiao Xiao nodded and said, Yes, everything is arranged. I'll ask the neighbor next door to help look after things. That's good. Good morning, adventurers. Just then, the woman named Hu Ting appeared. Good. Good morning. Everyone greeted her. At this moment, Hu Ting handed out the airship tickets to everyone one by one, saying, "The airship is at 11 o'clock. Everyone get ready to board." When Hu Ting came to Tang Poyu, he saw Tang Kong Kong holding Tang Poyu's hand. "Are you bringing your sister along?" Hu Ting asked. Tang Kong Kong wore a hat, concealing the features of his summoned beast, making him look no different from an ordinary human child. After all, humanoid summoned beasts are relatively rare, so she treated Tang Kong Kong as a human child. Tang Poyu asked, "Can I bring it?" Hu Ting laughed and said, Yes, of course. I'll get her a child's ticket later." In fact, Tang Poyu could have simply recalled Tang Kong Kong, which would have saved him some trouble of having to buy a replacement ticket. However, Tang Poyu didn't treat Tang Kong Kong as a summoned beast. He treated them all, including Mingyu, with equal respect. Therefore, he naturally wouldn't recall Tang Kong Kong just to save the trouble of paying extra tickets. Soon, everyone boarded the airship. This was Tang Poyu's first time riding in an airship, and he was quite curious. Although I had flown in airplanes in previous worlds, this airship was different from an airplane. It flew at a much lower altitude and was much slower. Sitting on the airship, you can get a better view of the scenery below. Here, there doesn't seem to be any security check or similar process. They just check the ticket and then let you through. Is this your first time riding an airship? Gu Xiaoxiao and Tang Poyu sat together. Tang Poyu nodded and said, "Yes, the first time." "Me too." When the time came, the airship took off precisely on schedule. Gu Xiaoxiao leaned against the window, looking outside with great curiosity. At this moment, Tang Kong Kong seemed very curious, so he also went over. "Kong Kong, don't push." Tang Poyu said. It's okay, come here, Kong Kong. Let me hold you and let you see," Gu Xiaoxiao said. Tang Kong Kong shook her head and said, "No, I don't like anyone else touching me except you." Okay. To be honest, Gu Xiaoxiao felt a little embarrassed. It was like she was being disliked. Tang Po Kong said to Gu Xiaoxiao, "This girl is shy around strangers." Gu Xiaoxiao smiled and said, "It's okay." Then Tang Kong Kong squeezed into Tang Poyu's arms. "Hold me. Isn't that your seat next to me? Why are you squeezing onto me?" Tang Poyu said. Tang Kong Kong replied, "It's comfortable to hold." Okay, hug me. As time went by, Gu Xiaoxiao's initial excitement faded. After all, you have to fly in the air for almost 2 days, which is very boring. Before long, Gu Xiaoxiao fell asleep leaning against her seat, while Tang Kong Kong curled up in Tang Poyu's arms and slept soundly. This girl can really sleep. She must have slept for countless years in the underground palace, yet she's still so sleepy now. After 2 days of flight, the airship began to descend and finally landed steadily in Cardona, the main city of Kata. "We're finally here. I feel like throwing up from sitting so long," Tang Poyu said. "For 2 days, except for going to the toilet, I was sitting the whole time. Although the airship was large, it was packed with seats to accommodate as many passengers as possible. So there's no space for them to move around even when they want to." Tang Poyu also decided that he would never take an airship back. He summoned Mingyu to his side and rode Mingyu back. Moreover, Mingyu's flight speed is much faster than that of an airship. The journey from Qatar back to Dongyao takes only about half a day. After disembarking from the airship, Tang Poyu was finally able to stretch his legs properly. "Is this Qatar?" "The temperature is indeed quite high," Tang Poyu said. "As soon as you get off the airship, you can feel that the temperature here is much higher than in Dongyao. It's winter in Dongyao right now, but the temperature here is about the same as, or even a little higher than, the summer temperature in Dongyao. The procedures for traveling from one country to another in this world are also very simple. When I left the airship station, they simply asked me where I came from and what I was doing in Qatar. They also checked my identity information on the Spirit Terminal, registered me, and let me through if there were no problems. There are no complicated procedures. Let's go, everyone." Hu Ting gathered everyone together. Then 2 more vehicles arrived, pulled by 2 summoned beasts that looked like rhinoceroses. The carriage is large and can accommodate 20 or 30 people. Of course, the accommodation mentioned here means stuffing 20 or 30 people in like pigs. There were no seats available inside the carriage, so everyone had to squeeze together. At this moment, Tang Poyu also sensed that something was wrong. But wasn't he supposed to be here to escort them? Now they were cramming everyone into a carriage like livestock. What was going on? At this moment, Tang Poyu asked, Didn't I come here to escort you? What are we supposed to do now? Hu Ting smiled and said, let's head to our destination now. No need to rush. Just then, a burly man walked over. His face was covered in scars, and he looked quite ferocious. The burly man said sternly to Tang Poyu, don't ask any more questions. Just stay in the carriage and wait until we tell you to come out. Chapter 54, Did we get tricked? The passengers were roughly forced into the carriage, and then the doors were closed. More than 20 people were crammed into the carriage. It was very dark inside, and none of them knew where they were being taken. However, no one resisted. After all, they were still hoping to make a lot of money. Although everyone vaguely sensed that something was wrong, they still held onto a sliver of hope. After an unknown amount of time, the carriage door was opened. Come down, all of you come down. At this point, everyone got out of the car. Tang Poyu looked around and realized they were in the mountains. However, these mountains were different from ordinary mountains. The mountains were completely bare, without a single plant. Line up and follow along, Hu Ting said. Where are we headed? Wasn't this supposed to be an escort mission? Where's the cargo? Someone asked. Just then, two burly men walked up to the man and slapped him across the face. Did I give you permission to speak? Just stay here and obediently follow instructions. Let's go. The person who was beaten dared not speak again, and the others were also intimidated by the scene. Then the group of people obediently followed along. Tang Poyu, what's going on? This doesn't seem like they want us to escort them. Have we been tricked? Gu Xiaoxiao asked Tang Poyu in a low voice. Tang Poyu replied, I don't know what happened either, but it certainly wasn't them asking us to escort them. As for whether we were tricked, I'm pretty sure. Upon hearing this, Gu Xiaoxiao immediately became anxious. What should we do? Can we still go back? What about my younger brother and sister? No rush. Let's go with them and take a look, Tang Poyu said. Tang Poyu wasn't in a hurry at all, since it wouldn't be difficult for him to leave if there was any real danger. With Tang Kongkong's spatial displacement ability, if all else fails, he can hide inside the beast breeding island. Although he could only leave from the place he entered, no one else knew this, and they certainly wouldn't stay in one spot to guard Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu looked around and saw that there were people watching them from all sides to prevent anyone from escaping. After walking for more than an hour, Tang Poyu found himself in the mining area. There are quite a few people working here. However, many of these workers had scars on their bodies, and some of the supervisors carried whips. If they saw someone slacking off, they would leave a whip mark on that person without mercy. This scene terrified the newly arrived group of people. Some tried to escape, but were kicked back. Ha ha! As expected of you, you've brought me so many slaves again. Just then, a fat middle-aged man walked over. The man had his arms around two women, one on each side. Boss Duwei, this group of people are all quite young, and they have plenty of labor. Hu Ting stepped forward and said with a smile. The middle-aged man named Duwei looked at it and laughed. Very good, very good. I was just worried about the recent high number of slave deaths. I was about to have to stop working here. You've sent me more, so it's been a pleasure working with you. I'll transfer the money to you later. You've worked hard. Rest here for a couple of days, and I'll treat you well. Thank you very much, Boss Duwei, Hu Ting said with a smile. Hey, what's going on here? Weren't we supposed to be here to escort you? What's happening now? Can you explain this to us? At this moment, a man walked out, seemingly still confused about what was going on. Anyone with a brain can figure out what's going on. He's just unwilling to admit it and insists on getting to the bottom of it. Just then, two burly men walked over, brandishing long whips, and began to brutally beat the man. Help! Help! Damn wolf, come out! Unable to withstand the beating any longer, the man summoned his summoned beast. A level 38 earth wolf, of ordinary bloodline, of the beast race. He summoned his summoned beast and wanted to rebel. But just then, a roar erupted, and suddenly, a huge shadow pounced on them. With a roar, the shadowy creature actually bit the earth wolf, and the next second, flames spewed from its mouth. The wolf that it had bitten in its mouth was instantly reduced to ashes by the flames. Only then did everyone realize that the shadow was actually a Xuanhua demon tiger. Someone secretly used the spirit control terminal to check its information. Tang Poyu also took a look. Name, Xuanhua demon tiger. Race, orc. Attribute, fire. Bloodline, legendary. Level, 121. Attributes, strength 1105, agility 650, defense 821. Skills, flame leap, skyfire, flame claw, exploding meteor. Owner, Duwei. It turned out to be a level 121 legendary bloodline, summoned beast. My God, that's incredible. For a moment, everyone was immersed in anxiety and fear. Among this crowd, Tang Poyu was probably the most composed. It's just a level 100 plus summoned beast. Nothing to be surprised about. It's not like he hasn't killed them before. Tang Poyu looked around and saw that the mine was very large, with probably dozens of supervisors working there. Their summoned beasts are probably not too weak either. However, as long as the heavenly prison is used, these people, including their summoned beasts, should be dealt with. After all, the heavenly prison is practically a map-wide attack. However, Tang Poyu did not make a move yet, as it was not the right time. He wanted to see more of the secrets here. After all, he could deal with these people and leave at any time, so there was no rush. Whenever he wanted to leave, he could just deal with them. At least for now, these people were already on the death list, and their summoned beasts were already points in Tang Poyu's eyes. Tang Poyu isn't killing them now because he doesn't want to leave immediately. When he decides to leave, that will be their death day. Doer, with his enormous belly protruding, stepped forward and loudly proclaimed, "From this moment on, you are my slaves. Someone will assign you work shortly. Work hard, and you will live. Don't work hard, and look over there." Duer pointed in one direction. All eyes turned to them. There was a large pit over there. No one knew what was in the pit, but driven by curiosity, they slowly approached. When they got closer and saw what was in the pit, the timid people screamed in fright. At this moment, Gu Xiaoxiao screamed in fright. She grabbed Tang Poyu's arm and buried her head in it, her body trembling slightly. Tang Poyu calmly looked into the pit, where there was a pile of corpses, including humans and summoned beasts. All of these people were covered in marks from being whipped, and they were all emaciated. One can only imagine the suffering they endured before they died. These summoned beasts were likely their own, and perhaps they tried to resist in their final moments. But they failed, and the summoned beasts died along with them. Chapter 55, There's no such thing as a free lunch. Seeing the terrified expressions on everyone's faces, Duer knew that the deterrent effect had been achieved. Then Duer laughed triumphantly. "These people just won't listen to me, so this is all they can do, fill in the soil." Just then, two Earth-type summoned beasts, the Earth-armored rhinoceros, were summoned and began to use their Earth collapse skill. Soil kept falling into the pit, and in no time, it was filled in. If nothing unexpected happened, the corpses in the pit would likely never see the light of day again. Clearly, Duer's series of actions had frightened everyone except Tang Poyu. After all, those who are tricked into coming here are people who are greedy for high rewards but have no real ability. Generally speaking, these people summoned beasts are only level 34 at most. How can they possibly resist? Only someone who doesn't value their life would resist. However, for most people, it's better to live a miserable life than to die. Everyone is afraid of death. All right, from now on, you better get to work properly. As long as you obey, I guarantee you won't starve, Duer said. You won't starve, but you certainly won't be fed enough. At this moment, a group of burly men came over and began to confiscate the spirit control terminals from each of them. Confiscating the spirit control terminal is a certainty, since as long as the spirit control terminal is still in hand, it can be used to contact the outside world. After confiscating the equipment, they will destroy the spirit control terminal on the spot. Looking at the burly men who had been confiscated along the way, Tang Poyu secretly removed the spirit control terminal and sky bracelet and put them into the warehouse on Beast Breeding Island. After all, it would be quite troublesome to replace a spirit control terminal later, and he didn't want that trouble. They were quickly brought before Tang Poyu. "Where are your spirit control terminals?" the burly man asked, looking at Tang Poyu and Tang Kong's empty wrists. Tang Poyu replied, "I took it off when I was on the airship and put it in my bag, but I lost it on the way." The burly men then searched Tang Poyu and Tang Kong again, confirming that they had no spirit control terminals or any storage items on them, so they stopped worrying about it. "Take them to work." "Yes." "Haha. Come on. I've already arranged the banquet. Let's have some fun today," Du Heer said to Hu Ting and the others. "Thank you very much, Mr. Duer." Tang Poyu and his group were taken to the mine, where the burly men assigned them jobs. The job isn't difficult. It's just mining and transporting ore. Tang Poyu was surprised to discover that the mine here was no ordinary mine, but a spirit stone vein. Spirit stones are needed in many places as a solvent. For example, they are required for crafting equipment and making puppets. However, spirit stone mines are relatively rare. If you have a spirit stone mine, it's like having a gold mine. Good heavens, I never expected that Duayer would actually have a spirit stone mine. Hurry up and stop slacking off. Just then, the burly overseer, annoyed that some of the newcomers were working too slowly, lashed his whip mercilessly across their bodies. The men were writhing on the ground in pain, groaning in agony. Seeing this, Gu Xiaoxiao turned pale with fright. Stop looking and get moving. You don't want to get beaten up, do you? Just then, Tang Poyu and Tang Kong came over and helped Gu Xiaoxiao push the cart away. They worked until very late before resting, while everyone else rested inside the mine. Their beds were just some dry straw. There were no blankets at all. But it was hot here, so blankets weren't necessary. Everyone, regardless of age or gender, was crammed together. By asking the people here, Tang Poyu learned that they only get 3 or 4 hours of rest each night. Therefore, many people go straight to sleep after work, firstly because they're too tired from the day, and secondly because they know that if they don't sleep, it will soon be dawn and they will have to work for nearly 20 hours straight again. So, they must cherish every second of rest. As night deepened, Tang Poyu heard Gu Xiaoxiao sobbing softly beside him. What's wrong? Are you hungry? Tang Poyu asked. At this moment, Tang Poyu also took out some dry food from the warehouse on the beast breeding island and gave it to her. Here, they only get 1 meal a day, which is just leftovers from others, and everyone has to fight over it. Newcomers like them, unaccustomed to eating such scraps, often don't get to eat their first meal. However, these people will soon adapt to this place. After all, they will soon realize that if they don't eat these scraps, they will starve to death. Because the mine was very dark, and it was nighttime. Gu Xiaoxiao didn't see clearly the dry food Tang Poyu handed her, but when Tang Poyu brought the dry food to Gu Xiaoxiao's nose, she smelled the aroma. How do you have it? Shut Tang Poyu signaled to Gu Xiaoxiao not to make a fuss. Gu Xiaoxiao sat up straight, took the dry rations from Tang Poyu, and began to eat them without any hesitation. Inside the mine, the sound of snoring was deafening, but the noise of Gu Xiaoxiao eating wouldn't wake anyone. After she finished eating, Tang Poyu took out a bottle of water for her. After drinking the water, Gu Xiaoxiao asked, "How did you bring the spatial storage item in? Weren't you searched?" Tang Poyu laughed and said, "I have my own way. How about it? You feel much better after eating, right?" Gu Xiaoxiao nodded and said, "Yes, but can we really not go back? What will happen to my younger brother and sister?" Tang Poyu, "I'm really scared. I'm worried about my younger brother and sister." Tang Poyu said, "What can we do? You saw it yourself. Those corpses buried today were all disobedient people who wanted to rebel, and that's how it ended. And Duayer summoned beasts are over level 100. Can we beat them? Besides, I believe that with Duayer's wealth, he must have hired many more beast tamers who are stronger than him." Hearing Tang Yu say that, Gu Xiaoxiao became even more frightened, and then she buried her head in her knees and began to sob. His cries were drowned out by the snoring around him, and even if someone was awake, no one would pay attention to his cries. It's normal for a newcomer to feel out of place for a few days. She'll get used to it in no time. You don't scare her. Just then, Tang Kong, who was next to Tang Poyu, said. Tang Poyu laughed. We just want to scare her, to let her know that there's no such thing as a free lunch. Doesn't she know her own limitations? With her abilities, why would anyone give her a commission worth 100,000 a week? Hearing Tang Poyu say this, Gu Xiaoxiao raised her head in dissatisfaction, wiped away her tears forcefully, and said, Aren't you the same? You were also tricked into coming here, and you still have the nerve to say that to me. Tang Poyu said, I am different from you because I have the ability to earn this money. Chapter 56, I love you to death. Bragging. Now you're in trouble yourself. Gu Xiaoxiao said. Tang Poyu didn't say anything, and simply stood up to leave. Where you go? Want to go pee together? Who wants to be with you? Forget about going, I'm going anyway. With that, Tang Poyu walked outside. There was no one guarding the way. Actually, there's no need to guard it because all we need to do is guard the entrances and exits of the mining area. As for other places, go wherever you want. You can't leave anyway, and in the end you'll still have to obediently come back to work. If someone really wants to escape but can't leave the mining area, then hiding will only lead to starvation in the end. When are we leaving? These bad guys must be punished. Tang Kong said to Tang Poyu at this moment. Tang Poyu patted Tang Kong's head and smiled. I'm very interested in the spirit stone mines here. Over the next couple of days, let's move as much or as we can to Beast Breeding Island. Of course, I'll make my move before Hu Ting and her group leave. After all, it'll be very troublesome to find them later if they leave, so I'll take care of them before they go. Tang Kong Kong clenched his fists and bumped his two small fists together. I can't wait any longer. You? Is it okay now? Tang Poyu asked. Tang Kong Kong said, okay. Tang Poyu smiled and said nothing more. Whether Tang Kong Kong was capable or not didn't matter. At least he could handle these guys for now. Even if he couldn't, leaving easily wouldn't be a problem. Tang Poyu and Tang Kong Kong left the mine, where two people were guarding the outside. Tang Poyu did not want any conflict with the two, so he simply used spatial displacement to leave. Spatial displacement is very useful in these situations. Tang Poyu and Tang Kong Kong toured around and got to know most of the roads here. There's only one entrance and exit. If you want to leave, you have to go out from there. There were many people guarding the entrance and exit, and two night leopards patrolling nearby. Once a summoned beast like the night panther spots you, there's virtually no chance of escape. Its speed is among the best of all summoned beasts, and its vision is exceptionally sharp. Therefore, it is impossible to escape directly from here. Of course, Tang Poyu never thought of escaping. What a joke it would be to leave so many points unused. He's just here to scout out the way, to help those who were tricked into coming here, so they'll know how to get there once they leave. Tang Poyu himself doesn't need it, because he has Mingyu, which allows him to travel by air. Having explored the area sufficiently, Tang Poyu returned to the mine and began moving some of the spirit stones inside to his beast breeding island. After moving for a while, Tang Poyu realized that this was too slow. Even if he worked himself to the bone, he couldn't move much. No, we can't move much, Tang Poyu said. Tang Kong Kong said, if there are monster cores or summoned beast cores of level 200 or above on the island, I can repair the gold armor, silver armor, and iron armor. Ah, you can repair those big guys? Tang Poyu asked in surprise. Tang Kong Kong nodded and said, yes, although I don't know why I was able to repair them. After waking up and seeing them, their structural diagrams and operating principles automatically came to mind. Their cores were all burned out. All that's needed is to replace the cores. I can also add an extra layer of insulating adhesive inside, so that after the repair, they won't be afraid of lightning anymore. Upon hearing this, Tang Poyu cupped Tang Kong Kong's face and couldn't help but kiss her forehead. Haha, once those three guys are repaired, my combat power will increase by a huge margin. I love you to death. Tang Poi Lao Get. What's the core? I'm sure Duwayer's group must have summoned beasts above level 200. But even with 3 more puppets, I don't know how long it'll take to move all the spirit stones from this mine. Oh well, we'll just move as much as we can. Tang Poyu said something, and then led Tang Kong Kong back to their resting place. What are you doing? Let me go, help me. Just as Tang Poyu returned to his resting place, he heard Gu Xiaoxiao's cries for help. At this moment, Gu Xiaoxiao was surrounded by a group of people who were touching her inappropriately and tearing at her clothes. These people were all slaves here, and it was normal for older slaves to bully newcomers. Moreover, just speaking of Gu Xiaoxiao's looks, she does have some merit. Although she's not a stunning beauty, she's still quite pretty and has a pleasing appearance. These guys hadn't touched a woman in who knows how long. Seeing Gu Xiaoxiao, they all became wildly lustful. What are they all doing? Just then, Tang Poyu rushed forward and kicked one of the people who was holding Gu Xiaoxiao away. Help me. Upon seeing Tang Poyu arrive, Gu Xiaoxiao quickly grabbed Tang Yu's arm. At this moment, a group of people gathered around, and one of the gaunt men said, brother, you're new here. You don't know how hard we've suffered. You can't keep good things to yourself. You have to share them. Most of the women here are dead, and we only managed to get a few more. You can't keep them all to yourself. Only then did Tang Poyu realize that the other women who had been brought with him earlier were now squatting on the ground, their clothes torn and tattered. The girl beside him is quite nice, although she's a bit young, but save her. Just then, one of them looked at Tang Kong Kong with a malicious expression on his face. However, before he could finish speaking, Tang Poyu appeared in front of him from a spatial location and ended his life without hesitation. This guy even dared to make a move on Tang Kong Kong. How could Tang Poyu possibly let him off the hook? Seeing that Tang Poyu had killed someone in an instant, the group of guys were all frightened and hurriedly retreated. At this moment, Tang Poyu said coldly, those who don't want to die should go back to sleep obediently. If you want to die, I can grant your wish. Faced with the threat of death and seeing the corpses on the ground, these people were truly terrified. Ultimately, when faced with a choice between physiological desires and the will to survive, reason will lead them to choose the will to survive. At this point, everyone left and returned to their seats to sleep. Tang Poyu said to the girls squatting on the ground, regret it? Now you know there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? 100,000 a week. Don't you have any self-awareness about your own abilities? Go to sleep. If you have a chance to escape, don't dream of free lunches anymore. Be down to earth. After hearing Tang Poyu's words, the girls wiped away their tears and went back to their seats to sleep. Tang Poyu glanced at Gu Xiao, who was still clinging to his arm, and said, "You should go to sleep too. I'll take you away in a couple of days." In a couple of days? Gu Xiao looked incredulous when she heard Tang Poyu say that. She thought Tang Yu was talking big. What a joke. Did this guy really think that just because he killed a slave, he would be able to rebel against Duer and escape from here? Chapter 57 today is your first battle. Stop asking so many questions. It's almost dawn, and we'll have to do physical labor again. If you don't get some rest, you won't have the energy to work tomorrow, Tang Poyu said. Don't go out again. I'm a little scared. Gu Xiao said to Tang Poyu after lying down in her seat. I just want to pee. Gu Xiao didn't say anything more. Tang Poyu sat down, took out the spirit control terminal and the sky wristband, and put them on. Wearing the sky wristband is to prepare for any unexpected situations. He put on the spirit control terminal to see if anyone had sent him a message. Sure enough, after opening the spirit control terminal, Tang Poyu saw messages from Zhao Yicheng, Ho Fan, and his mother. I first checked my mother's message. The message was very simple, just asking if Tang Poyu was doing well outside and if he was eating on time. Tang Poyu replied to the message, telling his mother not to worry, that he was doing well and eating on time. Then came news about Ho Fan. Ho Fan excitedly told Tang Poyu that there were 2 happy events today. The first thing he did was eat the food that Bailey Jean had personally cooked. Then he praised Bailey Jean's cooking skills, saying that after eating her food, he could no longer eat anything cooked by anyone else. To win a man's heart, you must win his stomach. Clearly, Bailey Jean has succeeded in doing just that. Tang Poyu was speechless. This guy, don't you even ask Bailey Jean's opinion? You like young grass to be eaten by old cows, but others may not like old cows eating young grass. The second good thing is that his little fire turtle has evolved and is now in its second stage, the fire turtle. Tang Poyu also gave a brief reply. Finally, I looked at Zhao Yicheng's information. Tang Poyu, I've arrived at the Kata Desert. It's very hot during the day and very cold at night, with a huge temperature difference between day and night. We followed the hired adventurers into the depths of the desert and encountered many summoned beasts we'd never seen before. Here, I also saw lost ancient ruins, the Sand King's underground palace. In short, there were many interesting things I'd never seen before. I'll tell you more about them when I get back to Danyao. By the way, how are you? Have you joined the Adventurers Guild yet? With your strength, you must be quite popular there, right? Tang Poyu then remembered that Zhao Yicheng had said she was going to come to Kata with Zhao Song to bring in the summoned beasts here. Tang Poyu then replied to the message, saying, I'll go to Kata when I have a chance. I've already joined the Adventurers Guild, but it's not as popular as you said. After all, who cares about a newbie adventurer? Be careful over there. The security in Kata isn't as good as in Danyao. Tang Poyu didn't tell Zhao Yicheng that he was also in Qatar. There was no need. After all, things were resolved here, and Tang Poyu didn't want to mention what happened here to anyone when he returned to Danyao. Why don't you come over? I'll give you a business trip on company pay, and I'll reimburse you when you get back. Zhao Yicheng replied quickly. Really? Not sleeping in the middle of the night? Tang Poyu asked. Zhao Yicheng, it's almost dawn. Haven't you just gotten up? Aren't you? Tang Poyu, I got up to pee. Now I'm going back to sleep. Ugh, disgusting. Humans have 3 urgent needs. Does urinating make you feel nauseous? Let's not talk about that. Are you coming or not? I'm not coming for now. Going back to sleep. Bye. Snort. Tang Poyu didn't chat with Zhao Yicheng for long. After all, sending messages via the spirit control terminal wasn't free, and it wasn't cheap either. It cost 10 spirit control coins per message. 10 spirit control coins was roughly enough for a person's daily food expenses. So many people with modest means couldn't afford to use the spirit control terminal for casual chatting. Tang Poyu, how come you have a spirit control terminal? At this moment, Gu Xiao, who was next to Tang Poyu, suddenly noticed that Tang Poyu was using the spirit control terminal. Tang Yu gestured for Gu Xiao to be quiet. Gu Xiao looked around, then whispered, Why didn't you say you had a spirit control terminal earlier? We could have asked Danyao Kingdom for help. Tang Poyu said, Big sister, we're in Qatar. What good would it do for you to ask Danyao for help? Don't be naive. Here, the only thing we can do is save ourselves. Go to sleep. It'll be dawn soon. If we don't sleep now, we won't have a chance to sleep today. With that, Tang Poyu lay down and closed his eyes. However, Tang Poyu had only closed his eyes for a short time when he heard the shouts of his descendants. Get up, everyone get up and get to work. Stop sleeping. You're all sleeping like logs. Then came the sound of whips lashing, and the person being whipped screamed in pain. Tang Poyu didn't want to be whipped, so he quickly got up. Meanwhile, the overseers also discovered the bodies inside the mine. They didn't even ask who did it. They just had the body taken away. After all, death is a perfectly normal thing here. Basically, someone dies every few days, either from overwork, infection of the wounds from being whipped, or suicide because they can't bear it. In short, on average, one person dies here every 3 days. So when they saw the body, no one was surprised, and no one bothered to ask how he died. They simply carried the body away, dug a hole, and buried it. It's better not to ask. At least it will save Tang Poyu some trouble. And so, everyone got back to work, mining and transporting ore. Tang Poyu also took the opportunity to familiarize himself with the mine. According to Tang Poyu's estimate, this spirit stone mine could be mined at full capacity for 8 to 10 years. However, it looks like this place has been mined for several years, so it can probably only be mined for another 3 to 5 years now. A preliminary estimate suggests that mining over the next 3 to 5 years could generate hundreds of millions of spirit coins. Since we can't bring all of this mineral vein into Beast Breeding Island, we'll just take it over for ourselves. It was another day of intense work, and by evening, everyone was exhausted. Tang Poyu, if this continues, we'll all die, Gu Xiaoxiao said to Tang Poyu. Gu Xiaoxiao's face was now covered in dust. Tang Poyu said, I figured Hu Ting and the others would be leaving tomorrow or the day after, so let's leave tomorrow too. Hearing this, Gu Xiaoxiao looked at Tang Poyu incredulously, then glanced around warily and said, Keep your voice down. Aren't you afraid someone will hear us? Leave? Where to? Can we even leave like this? Tang Poyu laughed and said, Yes, go to sleep. You'll know tomorrow. Kong Kong, go to sleep too. With that, Tang Poyu lay down and went to sleep. Tang Kong Kong also snuggled into Tang Poyu's arms and closed her eyes. Seeing Tang Poyu's nonchalant attitude, Gu Xiaoxiao really didn't know what to say. She didn't say anything after that and lay down. After thinking about it carefully, she realized that Tang Poyu was just bragging. Tonight was relatively peaceful. Nothing much happened. The next day, everyone was woken up again while being whipped. After waking up, Tang Poyu stretched and yawned, then said to Tang Kong Kong, Kong Kong, are you ready? Today is your first battle. Yes, I'm ready, Tang Kong Kong replied confidently. Chapter 58 was reported. Come out quickly, come out. At the supervisor's request, the first thing everyone did after waking up today was not to work. Everyone was taken outside the mine. In no time, a large crowd had gathered outside. Tang Poyu looked around and thought, Good heavens, besides this batch of newcomers, there are another 100 or 200 people who have been tricked into coming here to do hard labor. Everyone was standing together, completely bewildered. What exactly was going on? Under normal circumstances, they should be being spurred on to work at this point. Just as everyone was wondering, Du He and Hu Ting's group walked over. Du Wei, with his pot-belly protruding, chuckled and said, Gentlemen, to send off my friend, I thought I'd give them some fun today. So, I'm giving you all a chance to gain your freedom. These words caused an uproar in the audience. The crowd was buzzing with excitement, and everyone seemed thrilled to hear that they had a chance to gain their freedom. However, Tang Poyu felt that things couldn't be that simple. Du He wouldn't let them go so easily. Of course, it doesn't matter. Since Hu Ting is leaving soon, Tang Poyu has to make his move. After all, keeping a team like Hu Ting around will only cause more harm to others. Since that's the case, then let's make sure they can't harm anyone anymore. Although Tang Poyu didn't intend to rid the people of a scourge, he just wanted points. Tang Poyu, do you really think they'll let us go so easily? Gu Xiaoxiao, standing beside Tang Poyu, asked. Tang Poyu replied, What do you think? He probably thought of some cruel way to have some fun by saying that. Sure enough, Du Wei then said, I have prepared an arena for you. You will fight against my summoned beasts. As long as you win, you can leave. These words sparked another round of discussion among the crowd. Fighting doers, summoned beast? How is that possible? That's a summoned beast that's over level 120, and it has legendary bloodline. How could those who were captured and forced to do hard labor possibly be a match for that Xuanwu demon tiger? After all, someone with real power wouldn't be captured and brought here. Of course, Tang Poyu wasn't actually arrested. He came of his own volition because he had suspected Hu Ting from the beginning, and he just wanted to see what Hu Ting was up to. Come here, everyone, Du Heer said, and then he and Hu Ting and their group walked ahead. The rest of the people were driven over by a group of overseers. After walking for about 10 minutes, the group arrived at a large pit. It was a large pit left over from mining, about the size of a playground, and about 2 or 3 meters deep. Come out, my baby. At Duayer's summons, the Xuanhua demon tiger was summoned. Then the Xuanhua demon tiger jumped into the mine pit, waiting below for its prey to fall in. Duayer laughed. All right, my darling is waiting for you down there. Does anyone want to challenge him? This is your only chance to gain your freedom. Defeat my darling, and you can leave. I'll even give him some money for his travel expenses. Freedom was very appealing to them, but they weren't fools. Even the strongest among them only had summoned beasts that were around level 50 or 60. Moreover, they work long hours at high intensity and don't get enough to eat. If it's a summoned beast that normally lives in its own home, that's fine. But if it's a purchased summoned beast that doesn't have a home and lives with its owner, it's also starving in skin and bones. How can it fight like that? If we don't fight, we can survive. If we fight, we'll die here today. Hundreds of people lowered their heads, and not one dared to take the challenge. At this moment, Hu Ting, standing next to Du Heer, said, if they don't dare to take the challenge, then it's meaningless. Boss Du Heer, this performance was meant to give us a send-off, but now that none of them are going down to take the challenge, what are we supposed to watch? Duayer laughed and said, no rush, no rush. I'll make sure you're satisfied today. Then he waved his hand. At this moment, his men brought over a few chairs. Duayer invited Hu Ting and her group to sit down and watch the show at their leisure. After sitting down, Duayer crossed his legs and loudly addressed the people around the mine. Hurry up and go down and challenge us. If no one goes, I'll designate someone to go down. Even though Duayer said that, everyone kept their heads down and no one dared to go down. Duayer was getting impatient. A bunch of useless trash. Aren't you afraid to face my summoned beasts? Hey, you over there, the tallest one, get down. At this moment, Duayer pointed to a tall man. Tang Poyu glanced at the guy and knew he was doomed today. He would be killed by the Xuanhua demon tiger if he went down, and he would be killed by Duayer if he didn't go down, so he was destined to die. Tang Poyu could save him, but it's unnecessary, because just the night before last, he was one of the guys who led the bullying of Gu Xiaoxiao and her group of girls. Although he didn't kill them, it doesn't mean Tang Poyu would necessarily save them. No, I don't want to boss Duayer. Please let me go. Please let me go. I can work for you for the rest of my life. As long as I have a breath left, I will work for you. Please let me go. Please let me go. This guy was terrified. He knew very well that going down there would mean certain death. At this moment, he knelt down immediately, tears and snot streaming down his face from fear. What I have in abundance is labor. If you all die, Miss will send me new labor soon. We're bored now. If you really want to be loyal to me, spend the last moments of your life entertaining us. As he spoke, Duayer gestured to the overseer standing to the side. The foreman walked up behind the man and kicked him down. He rolled into the pit from a height of 2 or 3 meters, and the guy screamed in pain as he fell. Just then, the Xuanhua demon tiger let out a furious roar. The man knew that if he did nothing, he would surely die. Come out, two-headed dog. Just then, the man summoned his summoned beast, a two-headed dog with a rare bloodline. Level 48, orc. Due to prolonged hunger, the two-headed dog had become emaciated. The Xuanhua demon tiger became very excited the moment it saw its prey. The next second, it pounced on the two-headed dog. As a result, the two-headed dog didn't even have a chance to react before being bitten by the Xuanhua demon tiger. Then, flames spewed from the mouth of the Xuanhua demon tiger. The two-headed dog was burned to a crisp amidst its screams. No, my two-headed dog, no. At this moment, the Xuanhua demon tiger slowly walked towards the man. After arriving in front of the man, it used its claws to knock the man to the ground. It didn't kill the man immediately, but instead toyed with him. No, don't kill me, Boss Duayer. I'm reporting someone. I'm reporting someone for not handing in their spirit control terminal. I'm reporting them. Please spare my life, the man roared. Upon hearing this, Duayer ordered the Xuanhua demon tiger to stop its actions. Tell me, whose spirit control terminal hasn't been handed in? Duayer asked. At this moment, the man pointed at Tang Poyu. It was him. The night before last, I saw him secretly using the spirit control terminal. If you don't believe me, ask the woman next to him. She knows too. Boss Duayer, I've reported him. Please spare my life. Chapter 59. Gu Xiaoxiao goes into battle. Tang Poyu was speechless. This bastard, even when he was about to die, still stabbed him in the back. Even if Du Heer lets him go now, Tang Poyu has no intention of letting him off the hook. At this moment, Du Wei'er looked at Gu Xiaoxiao and smiled. You're saying that he really didn't hand over his spirit control terminal? Gu Xiaoxiao's face was a little pale. She never expected that this matter would involve her. I don't know, Gu Xiaoxiao replied. Du Wei'er laughed and said, as long as you answer honestly, I will let you go. Du Heer's words startled Gu Xiaoxiao, who was feeling conflicted. He had younger siblings to take care of, and he didn't really have any relationship with Tang Poyu. If revealing that he hadn't handed over the spirit control terminal could earn him his freedom, he had no reason to refuse. After all, everyone looks out for themselves, so I sacrificed Tang Poyu in exchange for my own freedom. But then she remembered that Tang Poyu had saved her the night before. If it weren't for Tang Poyu, she would have been killed by these guys long ago. If he were to reveal now that Tang Poyu hadn't handed over the spirit control terminal, Tang Poyu would surely be killed by Du Heer. Wouldn't that be repaying kindness with enmity? So Gu Xiaoxiao was truly hesitant. If it weren't for what happened the night before, she probably wouldn't have hesitated. At most, she would have felt a little guilty. But after what happened the night before, her conscience told her that she couldn't betray Tang Poyu. At this moment, Tang Poyu whispered to Gu Xiaoxiao, tell me, and although he might not let you go, he won't make things difficult for you. If you don't tell me, I bet he'll kill you. So, to save your life, you can betray me. Tang Poyu's words made Gu Xiaoxiao tremble slightly. Tang Poyu deliberately said this to Gu Xiaoxiao. He also wanted to see how Gu Xiaoxiao would choose in this situation. In fact, it's understandable that Gu Xiaoxiao betrayed him. After all, given the choice between dying herself and someone else dying, most people would choose to let someone else die. So even if Gu Xiaoxiao betrayed him under these circumstances, Tang Poyu wouldn't blame her too much. He would still rescue her, but that would be all. After that, he wouldn't have any further contact with her. What? Is it hard to say? Just tell me, and I'll let you go immediately. I do hear, keep my word. Seeing that Gu Xiaoxiao remained silent, Du Heer spoke again. Gu Xiaoxiao took a deep breath and said, no, I've been with him these past 2 days. We're together at work during the day, and I sleep next to him at night. I haven't seen him use the spirit control terminal. I think that guy is lying to save his own life. Gu Xiaoxiao's words surprised Tang Poyu. He smiled slightly, admitting that this girl was rather naive. After all, what was the point of talking about loyalty at a time like this? Survival was the priority. Although she was foolish, she did something clever, something that was enough to change her fate. Upon hearing Gu Xiaoxiao's words, Du Heer burst into laughter. It seems you lied, Du Wei'er said to the man inside the mine. I didn't. They're in cahoots. That kid killed someone for her the night before last. They're in cahoots, Boss Du Wei'er. You have to believe me. I'm telling the truth. It's true. The man screamed incessantly. At this moment, the Xuanhua demon tiger roared and bit down on the man's head with its blood-red maw. The next second, some of the more timid people screamed in fright. Gu Xiaoxiao quickly closed her eyes and turned her head to the side. The Xuanhua demon tiger's bite severed the man's body from his head. Haha, did everyone see that? This shows the consequences of lying, Du Heer said with a grin. Then, his gaze fell on Gu Xiaoxiao. You're next to challenge her. Me? Gu Xiaoxiao pointed to her nose, her face pale with fright, her whole body stiff. Tang Poyu then whispered in Gu Xiaoxiao's ear, I told you if you hadn't spoken, he would have killed you. Sending you down now is sending you to your death. It's not too late to betray me now. It's too late. He's the kind of person who doesn't keep his word. Judging from the current situation, if I die, he'll make you go down to challenge him next. I'm going first. Gu Xiaoxiao replied softly, then jumped into the mine pit. The man's head was right at her feet. Gu Xiaoxiao trembled slightly and moved a few steps to the side to get away from the man's head. Fei, come out. At Gu Xiaoxiao's summons, a giant butterfly-shaped summoned beast was summoned. When the butterfly's wings are spread out, they're about 1 meter wide. This is a swallowtail crystal butterfly. Tang Poyu then used the spirit control terminal to check the information on the phoenix tail crystal butterfly. He's using the spirit control terminal openly and honestly. He's not pretending anymore. He's laid his cards on the table. I do have a spirit control terminal, so what can you do about it? Tang Poyu's actions left everyone around him dumbfounded. Is this guy provoking me? Du Wei'er whispered. He hadn't expected that Tang Poyu would dare to use the spirit control terminal so blatantly under these circumstances. Didn't he know why this woman had fallen into the pit? Name: Phoenix tail, crystal butterfly flying. Race: insect. Attributes: poison wind. Bloodline: epic. Level: 77. Attributes: strength 150, agility 1020, defense 200. Skills: wind blade, paralysis powder, corrosive phosphorus. Owner: Gu Xiao Xiao. A summoned beast with high agility, low defense, and low strength. To Tang Poyu surprise, her summoned beast was level 77. Actually, thinking about it, she's about the right age. After all, she should be at the Advanced Spirit Academy. It's just that her parents passed away, so she dropped out of school to take care of her younger siblings. Generally speaking, for those attending Advanced Spirit Master Middle School, a summoned beast level of 77 is considered above average. Wow, I didn't expect this woman's summoned beast to be so good. At this moment, do here also check the information of Gu Xiao Xiao's summoned beast through the Spirit Control Terminal. Fei Fei, use wind blades to disrupt it. Upon receiving Gu Xiao Xiao's order, the phoenix tail crystal butterfly flapped its wings, unleashing a barrage of wind blades towards the Xuanhua demon tiger. However, the Xuanhua demon tiger didn't even need to dodge when facing the low-powered phoenix tail crystal butterfly. With a tiger's roar, the wind blades were instantly shattered. Fei Fei, paralysis powder. With incredible agility, the phoenix tail crystal butterfly flew swiftly. As it swept over the head of the mystic fire demon tiger, it rapidly flapped its wings, scattering paralyzing powder. A mere trifle, Duer said dismissively. The next second, the Xuanhua demon tiger raised its head, and flames shot out from above. In an instant, flames swept across the area, not only burning away the paralyzing powder in the air, but also engulfing the phoenix tail crystal butterfly. Chapter 60, I'm getting a little itchy to do it. Fei Fei, run. Gu Xiao Xiao shouted anxiously. At this moment, the phoenix tail crystal butterfly rose to a higher altitude, trying to avoid the sweeping flames. Even so, the flames still reached its wings. The swallowtail butterfly flapped its wings incessantly, extinguishing the flames on its wings. However, a hole was burned in its wing, and it would need a healing pill to repair it. Now, the loss of its wings has caused it to lose its balance, and is no longer able to fly normally. Actually, it was all thanks to the speed of the phoenix tail crystal butterfly. If it had been slower, it wouldn't have just had a chip burned into its wing. It would have been cremated. Haha, what? I was actually looking forward to seeing what her summoned beast would do. Darling, kill them. Do it, or laugh smugly. Roar. The Xuanhua demon tiger roared to the sky, the roar of a king. After defeating 2 opponents in a row, the Xuanhua demon tiger was bursting with confidence. The Xuanhua demon tiger looked at the phoenix tail crystal butterfly swaying in the sky, as if it might fall down at any moment. Gu Xiao Xiao's lips were trembling. She knew in her heart that if she continued, her summoned beast would die, and she would die too. But now she has no choice, since her life has been out of her own hands ever since she was tricked into coming here. Dad, Mom, I didn't expect to see you so soon, Gu Xiao Xiao thought to herself. Just then, to everyone's astonishment, Tang Poyu jumped into the mine pit. What are you doing down here? Gu Xiao Xiao asked. Tang Poyu replied. Watching you fight, I'm getting a little itchy to join in. Are you crazy? This is a level 120+ summoned beast, and it has legendary bloodline. I'm no match for it. Are you coming down here to die? Gu Xiao Xiao said. Although I've met Mingyu before, and know she's Tang Poyu's summoned beast. However, Tang Poyu's age is a factor. He's 16 or 17. Gu Xiao Xiao doesn't believe a 16 or 17-year-old beast tamer could be stronger than her, even though his summoned beast is a humanoid dragon. Kid, are you going down now to break the rules of the competition? Do here, asked Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu replied. Rules are for the weak. Since you're talking about rules, then I'll set some. Aren't you doing this for entertainment? Well, if it's for entertainment, then I'll help you maximize the entertainment value. Your summoned beast is too weak. Find 3 summoned beasts above level 200, and I'll challenge all 3 at the same time. How about that? Wouldn't that maximize the entertainment value? I imagine with your abilities, you should have summoned beasts above level 200 around, right? What Tang Poyu wants now is the core of a level 200 summoned beast. 3 cores will allow Tang Kong Kong to repair the iron armor, silver armor, and gold armor. These words shocked the entire audience. Everyone thought Tang Poyu had gone mad. 3 summoned beasts over level 200? What kind of joke was this? A person with level 200 summoned beasts was a heavenly level beast tamer. What was this guy thinking? Did he really think heavenly level beast tamers were worthless? And he wanted to challenge 3 at once. Even Dwyer didn't have a heaven level beast tamer by his side. Cores can only be generated by summoned beasts or monsters that are level 200 or higher. In other words, even beasts that are level 200 or higher are not guaranteed to have cores. Are you stalling for time? You know, heavenly level beast tamers aren't everywhere, and there aren't any heavenly level beast tamers around me. Are you saying this on purpose to buy yourself more time, to live a little longer? Dwyer said. Upon hearing this, Tang Poyu looked utterly disappointed. What the hell? So, none of your people have a summoned beast above level 200? What's the point then? I've lost the core I needed. Tang Poyu's words were unbelievable to everyone. They couldn't believe their ears. Tang Poyu's goal in challenging summoned beasts above level 200 is actually to obtain their cores. To get the cores, you have to kill the summoned beasts? Is this kid really out of his mind? When Tang Kong Kong said he needed the core of a summoned beast of level 200 or higher, Tang Poyu thought that Dwayer's kind of people must have summoned beasts of level 200 or higher. In hindsight, it seems we overestimated their strength. Since there are no summoned beasts above level 200, the entertainment time is over. Next, it's time for slaughter. Tang Poyu looked at Dwyer, sitting above him with a strange smile on his face. You bastard, you've got some nerve. I'll show you how to kill you. Attack him. Dwyer ordered the Xuanhua demon tiger to attack Tang Poyu. With a roar, the Xuanhua demon tiger pounced directly at Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu stood still, without dodging. Dragon armor. As the divine dragon armor was activated, Tang Poyu's body became covered in golden dragon scales. With a snap, the Xuanhua demon tiger slapped Tang Poyu's body with its palm. To everyone, this palm strike meant Tang Poyu was doomed. Unlike summoned beasts, beast tamers themselves don't have strong bodies. Separated from their summoned beasts, beast tamers are extremely vulnerable. To be slapped like that by a summoned beast that is over 100 levels high, and the force of the Xuanhua demon tiger's slap was enough to shatter rocks. If one were to take that blow head-on with their own flesh and blood, how could they possibly survive? However, the next second, Tang Poyu stretched his body and said, "Is that all the strength you have? It's not even enough to tickle. How is this possible?" Tang Poyu is completely unharmed. Dwyer couldn't believe his eyes. He stood up abruptly from his seat and stared in shock at Tang Poyu in mind. This kid actually took a direct hit from the Xuanhua demon tiger's palm with his body, and he was completely unharmed. Just then, a figure suddenly appeared in front of the Xuanhua demon tiger. It was Tang Kong Kong. She used spatial displacement to arrive in front of the Xuanhua demon tiger. With a snap, Tang Kong Kong kicked the Xuanhua demon tiger on the head. The roaring, fiery tiger, in pain, staggered back several steps. Did this girl just use spatial displacement? Everyone looked at Tang Kong Kong in surprise. Because of the large movement she made, her hat fell off, revealing the horns on her head. Lin Jiao, she's actually a summoned beast. She's not your sister. She's also a summoned beast? Yours. Gu Xiao Xiao, who was not far from Tang Poyu, could no longer describe her expression as shock. She had met Mingyu, and he had always thought Tang Kong Kong was human, but he never expected her to be a summoned beast. If that's the case, then Mingyu and Tang Kong Kong mean Tang Poyu is also a summoned beast? 2. This guy actually has the ability to form contracts with 2 summoned beasts, and both are humanoid, one with dragon features and the other with Qilin features. Putting aside their bloodline levels, the fact that there are 2 of them is already abnormally high. Chapter 61, The Terror of Space Systems. Please complete the following options. 1. Personally kill the Xuanhua demon tiger, and all summoned beasts on the beast breeding island will increase their level by 2. 2. If a summoned beast recorded in the beast breeding island kills the Xuanhua demon tiger, the level of the summoned beast participating in the battle will increase by 5 levels. This option actually made Tang Poyu hesitate a bit. He had no problem killing it himself. After all, the Xuanhua demon tiger couldn't withstand a single blow from the heavenly prison. If we choose option 2, we can only send Tang Kong Kong in a battle, since Tang Kong Kong is currently the only summoned beast registered on the beast breeding island. But Tang Kong Kong is only level 3 right now. Although today was supposed to be Tang Kong Kong's first battle, Tang Poyu still hesitated when faced with such a large level difference. He was also afraid that Tang Kong Kong would get hurt. I can do it. Seemingly sensing Tang Poyu's hesitation, Tang Kong Kong said to him. All right, Kong Kong, take care of it, Tang Poyu said. At this moment, Tang Poyu also remembered the divine artifact, Nine Nether. Although he didn't know the specific function of Nine Nether, he only knew that it was a pair of gauntlets. However, it appeared in the exchange shop along with Tang Kong Kong's registration, and it should be used in conjunction with Tang Kong Kong. Therefore, Tang Poyu took out the Nine Netherworld and threw it to Tang Kong Kong. As Tang Kong Kong held Jiuyo in his hands, Jiuyo emitted a dim light. Rather than boxing gloves, they actually looked more like sharp claws when worn. God, divine domain. Next, Tang Kong Kong unleashed her domain. The moment the domain unfolded, the surrounding scenery changed. They felt as if they were in the universe, surrounded by rotating planets. The divine realm covers a very large area, almost encompassing the entire mining area. What kind of skill is this? Faced with the unfolding of the divine realm, Du Wei'er felt a little flustered. Is this a divine skill? She's a mythical beast. Because Gu Xiaoxiao was nearby, she heard the name of the domain. It was a divine skill, and only divine beasts possessed such skills. At this moment, she found it even more hard to believe that Tang Kong Kong was actually a divine beast. Moreover, it is a mythical beast with spatial attributes. It's important to know that summoned beasts with spatial abilities are extremely rare. Even those with ordinary bloodlines are as rare as spirit beasts. And now, this is actually a divine beast-level summoned beast with spatial abilities, which is simply unbelievable. At this moment, Tang Kong Kong had already begun his attack. With the blessing of the God Realm, her spatial displacement ability is virtually unlimited. Faced with unlimited spatial displacement, Tang Kong Kong's movements in the field were impossible to detect. With the continuous use of spatial displacement, all that could be seen by the crowd was Tang Kong Kong's afterimage. Just then, Tang Kong Kong appeared above the Xuanhua demon tiger. Because of its incredible speed, the Xuanhua demon tiger didn't even have time to react. At this moment, Tang Kong Kong placed his hands on the back of the Xuanhua demon tiger. Space cutting. As the spatial cutting technique was used, traces of cutting appeared in the space in front of Tang Kong Kong. The next second, the same cutting marks appeared on the Xuanhua demon tiger's body. The roaring, fiery tiger roared in pain, blood flowing continuously from its wound. Spatial cutting? Does she have that skill? Tang Poyu was somewhat surprised because Tang Kong Kong currently only has two skills, spatial displacement and divine domain. What is the situation with this spatial cutting? I'm too lazy to guess now. I'll ask Tang Kong Kong later. The spatial slicing inflicted serious injuries on the Xuanhua demon tiger. If it hadn't dodged quickly at the last moment, it would already be a corpse. No, it can't be called one body. It should be called several pieces of corpse. The reason why space-type attacks are so powerful and rare is simply because space-type attack skills have a unique characteristic. Most of them ignore defense. Even though Tang Kong Kong only has 200 strength now, and the Xuanhua demon tiger has 821 defense, they are both defenseless against the space-cutting skill. After all, many spatial attack skills directly alter the shape of space. You were born into a space that is constantly changing, and you will change along with that space. Changes in space are inevitable, so defense is futile. This is the abnormality of the space-type summon. It can be said that the space-type summon is a super output type summon. Even with Ming Yu's high defense, it's meaningless against most spatial attack skills. Of course, Ming Yu has more than just defense. After all, she has the divinely bestowed skill, divine regeneration. As long as she isn't killed instantly, she can recover quickly. While most spatial attack skills ignore defense, they also have a major drawback. They are slow to cast and easy to dodge. Therefore, he heavily relies on teammates with strong control abilities, or on possessing control abilities or high mobility himself. Clearly, the combination of divine domain and spatial displacement grants Tang Kong Kong exceptional mobility. However, the unfolding of the divine realm is time-limited, lasting approximately 5 minutes. Roar! The pain drove the Xuanhua demon tiger mad. It spewed flames wildly, seemingly wanting to engulf everything around it in a sea of fire. With Tang Kong Kong constantly using spatial displacement, it couldn't detect Tang Kong Kong's movements and could only spray flames haphazardly. But this had no effect on Tang Kong Kong. He easily dodged the flames that shot out at such a high speed. But Tang Poyu and Gu Guxiaxio can't escape it. In fact, Tang Poyu could have dodged it, since he shared Tang Kong Kong's spatial displacement, and under the divine realm, He could use the monitoring displacement almost without any cost. However, Gu Xiaoxiao couldn't dodge, so Tang Poyu could only come to Gu Xiaoxiao's side and use his body to block the flames that were shooting at him. With the divine dragon armor protecting him, such flames had no effect on Tang Poyu. Recall your summoned beasts first, lest they get accidentally injured, Tang Poyu said to Gu Xiaoxiao. Gu Xiaoxiao nodded and recalled the phoenix tail crystal butterfly. Who exactly are you? Gu Xiaoxiao asked blankly, looking at Tang Poyu standing in front of her, shielding her from the flames with his body. Not only are his summoned beasts strong, but he himself is also incredibly strong. He can actually withstand the attacks of a summoned beast that is over level 100 with his own body. Tang Poyu laughed and said, "Who is it? How should I answer you?" In short, he's not a bad person, but he's not a good person either. Then Tang Poyu said to Tang Kong Kong, "Kong Kong, stop playing around and finish this guy off. Although his flames can't hurt me, it's still pretty hot, and I'm sweating." "Okay, you." The next second, Tang Kong Kong used spatial displacement to appear on the back of the Xuanhua demon tiger. She rode on the back of the Xuanhua demon tiger. Her hands pressed down on the head of the Xuanhua demon tiger. Space cutting. Several cutting marks appeared in the space around the head of the Xuanhua demon tiger. Soon, the same cutting marks appeared on the head of the Xuanhua demon tiger. The next second, the head of the Xuanhua demon tiger separated from its body, and the separated head was not a complete head, but was cut into several pieces. Congratulations! Spatial Beast Tang Kong Kong has defeated the Xuanhua demon tiger. Spatial Beast Tang Kong Kong's level has increased by 5. Congratulations on defeating the summoned beast Xuanhua demon tiger. Reward: 1,815 points. The kill reward is 1,210 points for a level 121 summoned beast. With a legendary bloodline multiplier of 1.5, the total score is 1,815 points. This is much more than the points you get for completing tasks before. Chapter 62, Can you do something worthwhile? No, my baby. At that moment, Du Wei'er let out a heart-wrenching roar from above, and then collapsed to the ground. The death of a summoned beast during the contract period has a significant impact on the beast tamer. Your mental strength will be damaged to some extent, making it almost impossible to contract a stronger summoned beast in the future. Therefore, if the summoned beast dies during the contract period, the beast tamer is basically half-crippled. Everyone was incredulous that Du Weier's summoned beast had been killed. Gu Xiaoxiao covered her mouth to hide her shock. Gu Xiaoxiao had initially thought that Tang Poyu, being a year or two younger than her, couldn't be too strong. At least, she felt his strength was below hers. But now, he easily killed Du Weier's summoned beast. And his summoned beast is very likely a divine beast. Kill him. Kill him. I'll tear him to pieces. And that summoned beast, capture it. I want alive. Du Wei'er roared furiously. Now, he not only wants to tear Tang Poyu to pieces, but he also has designs on Tang Kong Kong. Judging from Tang Kong Kong's behavior, this summoned beast is no ordinary summoned beast. If they could snatch her away and forcibly form a contract with her, the death of a Xuanhua demon tiger would be nothing. Kong Kong, come back, Tang Poyu said. Because the divine realm has disappeared, and Tang Kong Kong can only use the divine realm once every 2 hours. For her now, without the divine realm, her combat power is still limited. Since her level is low, she can only rely on the divine realm to enhance her skills and improve her combat power. Without the divine realm, she wouldn't be able to deal with so many people at the same time. At this moment, Du Weier's men all jumped into the pit, a total of several dozen people. However, given Tang Kong Kong's combat prowess, they dared not charge forward directly. Instead, they summoned their summoned beasts and slowly approached Tang Poyu. They're coming? What do we do? There are dozens of summoned beasts here. If they all come, they'll tear us to pieces. Your summoned beast probably can't handle dozens of them, right? Gu Xiaoxiao said. However, Tang Poyu paid no attention to what Gu Xiaoxiao was saying. His eyes shone with excitement. So many summoned beasts. How many points would that be? If you exchange all your points for map fragments, you should be able to synthesize at least 2 or 3 complete maps. Thinking of this, Tang Poyu was extremely excited. Hey, what's with that expression? You look pretty happy. Gu Xiaoxiao looked at Tang Poyu's expression and didn't know what to say. Doesn't this guy know his current situation? No rush. No rush, Tang Poyu said calmly. No ruse. They have dozens of summoned beasts on the other side. Gu Xiaoxiao said. Just then, a spatial rift appeared in front of Tang Poyu. The next second, Mingyu was summoned by him. If you want to deal with all these summoned beasts at the same time, you'll have to use the heavenly prison. Because the enemy has a large number of targets, including their beast tamers, Tianyu needs to lock onto each target one by one, which will take some time. Therefore, summoning Mingyu can protect him from being attacked when he uses heavenly prison to lock onto a target. Mingyu, who had been summoned, was somewhat bewildered. She was holding a pen in her hand, and her face was quite beautiful. The faces were painted with flowers, turtles, and other doodles. What are you doing? Tang Poyu asked. Mingyu replied, Hee hee, I've lost all my money, and you won't let me sell my Dragon Gall. So I can only play some free games, and if I lose, I'll draw turtles on my face. Can't you do something productive? With a snap, Tang Poyu tapped Mingyu on the head. Mingyu's appearance once again unsettled everyone. How did he summon another summoned beast? And this one was humanoid with dragon-like features. 2 summoned beasts. Is that something someone his age could possibly do? So you really do have 2 summoned beasts. At this moment, Gu Xiaoxiao couldn't help but ask. Tang Poyu had met Mingyu before, and Mingyu was a summoned beast. And now it has been confirmed that Tang Kongkong is also a summoned beast. Gu Xiaoxiao still couldn't believe that Tang Poyu could have 2 summoned beasts at his age. Therefore, she felt that Mingyu was probably not Tang Poyu's summoned beast. But now, Tang Poyu directly summoned Mingyu, which dispelled Gu Xiaoxiao's doubts. He really did have 2 summoned beasts. In the past, Gu Xiaoxiao had met people who were called geniuses. After all, during the school years, every school has 1 or 2 top students. However, comparing Tang Poyu to those so-called geniuses of the past is utterly meaningless. Wipe the turtle off your face, then block these guys and buy me some time, Tang Poyu said to Mingyu. Upon hearing this, Mingyu quickly wiped her face with her hand. It would have been better if I hadn't wiped it off. Once I did, my whole face was covered in ink, all black. Seeing this, Tang Poyu was speechless. Let's not wipe it anymore. Let's wash it later. A bunch of newbies. Watch me. At this moment, Mingyu transformed into his true form, and a giant dragon appeared. Seeing this, some people were so frightened that they collapsed to the ground. After all, 99% of the people present had never seen a real dragon. In countries like Qatar, the dragons are just winged flying lizards. But when faced with a real dragon, this overwhelming pressure sent chills down their spines. What on earth is that? Du Wei'er stared in horror at the enormous figure in the mine. Mingyu lay on the ground, protecting Tang Poyu, Gu Xiaoxiao, and Tang Kongkong behind her. A giant dragon from the east. Hu Ting said nervously at that moment. At this point, she could no longer remain calm. She knew in her heart that they had gotten themselves into trouble this time. Damn it, who exactly did you bring? I'll settle accounts with you after I kill that kid. Damn it, are you trying to kill me? Du Wei'er roared angrily. Attack them. Attack them. I don't believe we're afraid of dozens of people. Du Wei'er roared. Du Wei'er's roar gave everyone a bit of courage. Superior. Kill them. At this moment, the beast tamers began to command their summoned beasts to attack. To attack Tang Poyu, one must bypass Mingyu. Therefore, they had no choice but to attack Mingyu first. But the attack power of these summoned beasts is so weak that they wouldn't even be enough to tickle Mingyu. Most of these summoned beasts are below level 100, and only a few are above level 100. Here, a little harder, it's a little itchy. Tail, scratch it for me. Mingyu gently swayed her dragon tail, speaking in a mocking tone. Meanwhile, Tang Poyu also began his preparations. Heavenly Prison. Chapter 63, The Death of Du Wei'er. The sky was instantly shrouded in dark clouds. The heavenly prison covers the entire mining area. Tang Poyu's eyes emitted a purple light. What happened? What happened? Can someone tell me what happened? The sky was suddenly covered by dark clouds, and many people were still confused about what was happening. It was the heavenly prison. Gu Xiaoxiao was quite knowledgeable. She recognized it as the heavenly prison. Looking at Tang Poyu, she was certain that Tang Poyu was the one who released her from the heavenly prison. She looked at Tang Poyu and realized that she could understand this guy less and less. He was actually able to summon the heavenly prison on his own. It's important to know that beast masters can share the initial skills of a summoned beast. However, the initial skills of summoned beasts are all ordinary skills. After all, very few summoned beasts possess powerful skills from the start. These skills need to be learned and cultivated later. And Heavenly Prison is the strongest among lightning-type normal skills. Moreover, The heavenly prison used by Tang Poyu seems to cover a much larger area than the ordinary heavenly prison. It's heavenly prison. He's about to use heavenly prison. Quick, stop him. It'll be troublesome once he releases it. Just then, Hu Ting shouted from above. Her team has traveled all over the country for many years and has gained considerable experience. She recognized it as heavenly prison, the strongest of the lightning-type ordinary skills. She knew very well that if Tang Poyu released heavenly prison, things would be really troublesome today. Quickly, kill him. Hurry up, Du Wei'er shouted. However, his subordinates were ordering their summoned beasts to attack, but no matter how they attacked, these summoned beasts could only tickle Mingyu. Mingyu's massive body blocked the opponent's summoned beast from advancing. Therefore, Tang Poyu has nothing to worry about. He can confidently use the heavenly prison to lock onto every target. If no target is locked, the release speed of heavenly prison will be much faster. But that would be an indiscriminate attack. There are so many people here. If an indiscriminate attack were carried out, many innocent people would die. At this moment, Tang Poyu had already locked onto the summoned beasts and beast tamers present. The next second, thunder roared and a thunderstorm descended. Amidst the thunderstorm, the summoned beasts howled in agony, and the beast tamers cried out as they fled for their lives. However, no matter how they tried to escape, it was useless since they had already been locked onto by the heavenly prison. If they really wanted to escape, they would have to get out of the heavenly prison's territory, but the entire mining area was covered by the heavenly prison. Escaping was virtually impossible. Congratulations on defeating the summoned Beast Sky Falcon. You have been awarded 650 points. Congratulations on defeating the summoned Beast Ironclad Rhinoceros. You have been awarded 550 points. Congratulations on defeating the summoned Beast Ice Crocodile. You have been awarded 1066 points. Reward notifications kept coming in. Tang Poyu's eyes were filled with indifference. In that instant, dozens of people and dozens of summoned beasts perished at his hands. But Tang Poyu knew in his heart that he could not be soft-hearted when facing someone who wanted to kill him. This is not the world we knew before. In this world, being soft-hearted will not end well. As the heavenly prison ended, the thunderclouds dispersed, and the sky returned to clear skies. At this moment, one can see corpses that have been cleaved into ashes by the heavenly prison. This scene also frightened the others so much that they turned pale and dared not speak. Gu Xiaoxiao covered her mouth, and it seemed she would have a hard time coming to her senses for a while. Tang Poyu checked the points he had earned in the narrow sense, and wow, he had actually gained 32,505 points this time. His total score is now 34,370 points, which Tang Poyu figured he could exchange for several map fragments. At this moment, Tang Poyu looked at Du Wei'er. Du Wei'er trembled with fear and tried to run away. How could Tang Poyu possibly let him escape? A spatial displacement blocked Du Wei'er's path, followed by a kick that sent Du Wei'er sprawling to the ground. No, don't kill me, don't kill me. I was wrong. I'll give you anything you want. Money? I'll give you as much money as you want. All my money. Please spare me. Du Wei'er knelt on the ground, begging for mercy repeatedly. The slaves captured by Du Wei'er felt an indescribable pleasure as they watched him kneel and beg for mercy. After all, they had been oppressed by Du Wei'er for so long, and here they lived a life worse than dogs. After all, dogs only need to guard the door, while they work day and night under high intensity, are not well fed, and are whipped every day. Now that they see the high and mighty Du Wei'er kneeling and begging for mercy, how could they not feel pleased? Don't worry, I won't kill you, Tang Poyu said. Upon hearing this, a hint of joy appeared in Du Wei'er's eyes. Really? Real? That's great. Thank you, thank you. At this moment, Tang Poyu said to the slaves, he is yours now. From now on, settle your scores and grievances. Upon hearing Tang Poyu's words, Du Wei'er was first taken aback. Then his eyes were filled with despair. What a joke. These slaves would love to skin him alive and tear him apart. These slaves were initially hesitant. After all, they had been oppressed for so long and still harbored some fear of Du Wei'er and his men. Du Wei'er was killed. At that moment, someone shouted, and this shout aroused everyone's hatred for Du Wei'er. Du Wei'er was killed. Tear him to pieces. No, please stop them. Please. Du Wei'er knelt before Tang Poyu, kowtowing repeatedly. But Tang Poyu was too lazy to care about him now. After all, in Tang Poyu's eyes, he was already a corpse. Why bother with a corpse? At this moment, the angry slaves had already rushed forward. They pounced on him, attacking Duwayer like wild beasts. Everyone's eyes turned red, and at that moment, they had only one thought in their minds: to vent all the persecution they had suffered over the past few days on Duwayer. And so Duwayer's screams echoed throughout the entire mining area. But his screams didn't last long. After all, there were hundreds of slaves, some of whom were throwing or at Duwayer. How long could his flesh and blood withstand that? Even though Duwayer was dead, the anger of these people had not subsided, and they continued to whip Duwayer's corpse. Tang Poyu didn't bother with this matter and slowly walked towards Hu Ting and her group. At this moment, Hu Ting and her group were pale, and their eyes were filled with despair when they saw Tang Poyu walking towards them. "Please let us go. We were forced into this by Du here," Hu Ting pleaded, looking at Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu said, "You are all from Dongyao, right?" Hu Ting quickly said, Yes, they're from Dongyao. Please let us go since we are all from Dongyao." Tang Poyu laughed and said, "Dongyao people, how dare you persecute your own compatriots like this? You are not worthy of being called human. I will not kill you, but do you think those angry people will let you go?" With that, Tang Poyu roared at the group, "Hey, you're handing these people over to us too. Anyone who was tricked into coming here, settle your scores and get revenge." As soon as Tang Poyu said this, the group of people rushed up like a tidal wave, as if a zombie apocalypse had besieged a city. Chapter 64, This is All Money. At this moment, Hu Ting and her group still wanted to run away, but they were surrounded by an angry crowd, so how could they possibly escape? In no time at all, amidst the screams of Hu Ting and the others, they met the same fate as Du here. But this was not the end. The enraged crowd whipped their corpses mercilessly, and finally even threw their bodies into the wilderness to be eaten by wild beasts. Now that everything has calmed down, Tang Poyu is in a dilemma. Should he leave or not? Let's go. What should we do with this mine? It's a huge amount of money. Are we just going to give it up like this? If they don't leave, since the mining of spirit stone crystals is calculated on an annual basis, even if they try to move these spirit stone crystals to the island, they won't be able to move many. Therefore, Tang Poyu was caught in a dilemma. What should we do next? Gu Xiaoxiao asked Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu replied, "I want to continue mining here, but it's taking too much time. Let's go. I feel like we've lost billions." "All right, let them go first." Then Tang Poyu said to the others, "You're all free now. Go back to your own countries. Don't believe in free lunches anymore. Think about your abilities, and then think about how much you should be paid for them. Thank you. We will remember you. Thank you so much. We will never forget you." Then these people all left. The entire mining area suddenly became quiet. In a short while, everyone except Tang Poyu, Ming Yu, Tang Kong Kong, and Gu Xiaoxiao had left. "Are you still reluctant to leave?" Gu Xiaoxiao asked. Tang Poyu replied, "This is all money." Suddenly, there was a commotion ahead. Tang Poyu looked around and saw a large group of people rushing over. Judging from their slightly dark skin and clothing, they were probably locals from Qatar. When they arrived in front of Tang Poyu and his group, the group surrounded them. "Where's Duwaya?" At this moment, an old man stepped forward and asked Tang Poyu. Tang Poyu replied, "He's dead." The old man was not surprised at all after hearing this. Who killed him? Although Du Heer was killed by everyone together, it was Tang Poyu who truly decided Du Heer's fate. Tang Poyu didn't know if this group of people were Du Heer subordinates, so he naturally took all the blame upon himself. Even if these guys wanted revenge, Tang Poyu wouldn't mind taking action again. However, after Tang Poyu finished speaking, the old man suddenly knelt down. Seeing the old man kneel down, the rest of the people followed suit. Tang Poyu was stunned for a moment. What was going on? Get up, old man. You're too old for me to accept this." With that, Tang Poyu quickly helped the old man up. After being helped up by Tang Poyu, the old man said, "Just now, the people from our village saw a large number of people fleeing from here, so they went to inquire and learned that Du Heer was dead. You really saved us from a great scourge. Thank you. "Oh, is that so?" Tang Poyu said. The old man said, "We are all from nearby villages, and this mine is our shared wealth. However, Duwayer's arrival has seized this place. He has many skilled men under his command, and we are powerless against him. At first, he wanted us to work for him for free, but all the people from our villages united in resistance, which made him give up that idea. But we can't get our mine back. We've been waiting for this day, hoping he'll get his comeuppance, and today it has finally come to pass. Thank you for helping us reclaim the mine." "Wait a minute," Tang Poyu said. "I didn't kill Du Heer with the intention of acting on behalf of heaven. I'm not a good person, but I'm not a bad person either. I will return the mine to you, but as payment for helping you reclaim it, I need 3 years of mining rights." Upon hearing this, the old man was taken aback, and then said, "3 years? No, that's too long. 1 year at most." Tang Poyu laughed. "How much can be mined in a year? 2.5 years. That's my bottom line. I've said it before, I'm neither a good person nor a bad person. But when faced with profit, I might become a bad person. I don't mind taking over this place by force for 2.5 years. During these 2.5 years, I can hire people from several of your villages to help me mine, and I will pay you double the normal wages. We need to discuss this." The villagers then gathered together and began to discuss the matter. About 5 minutes later, the old man came over. "We've already discussed it, and we can give you mining rights for 2.5 years. We can also help you mine, but it will cost 3 times the wages. After 2.5 years, you must return this place to us," the old man said. Tang Poyu thought for a moment, since he'd already picked up this place by chance. Even if it were 10 times the wages, let alone 3, Tang Poyu could still make a fortune. After 2.5 years of mining, the spirit coins he earned would be in the 9 or 10 figures. He didn't want to get entangled with these villagers any further. "Okay, I agree." Then Tang Poyu said to Gu Xiaoxiao, "Are you interested in working for me for 2.5 years?" Gu Xiaoxiao looked at Tang Poyu with a puzzled expression. Tang Poyu said, "This place needs someone to supervise it. I can't just let them mine on their own. Who knows if they're slacking off? Work for me for 2.5 years, and I'll give you 10% of the profits." Upon hearing about the 10% return, Gu Xiaoxiao couldn't help but swallow hard. That 10% return would be enough for her and her siblings to live a wealthy life for the rest of their lives. "Can I bring my younger brother and sister-in-law over?" Gu Xiaoxiao asked. Tang Poyu replied, "Of course. All you need to do here is supervise them and make sure they don't slack off. So you agree? Okay, come with me to Kata for a bit, then I'll take you back to Donyao. After that, get ready and bring your younger brother and sister-in-law over." Then, Tang Poyu addressed the villagers. "You should prepare for the next few days. Once she returns, you can begin work. From the day we begin, the mining rights here will be mine for 2.5 years. Also, guarantee her safety here. If even a single hair on her head is harmed, I will transform into a demon and wipe your village off the map." No sooner had Tang Poyu finished speaking than Mingyu revealed his true form. A massive body, a majestic posture. At this moment, she let out a dragon's roar at the group of villagers, and some of the timid villagers were so frightened that they collapsed to the ground. Although Mingyu lacks offensive capabilities, her true form is undeniably intimidating. Who wouldn't feel a chill run down their spine in the face of such a colossal dragon? These villagers need to be intimidated. Otherwise, when Gu Xiaoxiao is alone here, they might see her as an easy target and rebel, putting her in danger. Now, let's give them a warning so they won't dare to act recklessly, unless they want their village massacred. Chapter 65 define skill, Yin Yang Reforçao. No, please, sir. Stop using your supernatural powers. At this moment, the old man quickly knelt down again. When he knelt down, everyone else followed suit. Judging from this, the old man must have a very high status. Mingyu transformed back into human form. "Get up, everyone." "Yes." Seeing the group's submissive demeanor, Tang Poyu knew he had achieved his goal. Even if only Gu Xiaoxiao remained, these people wouldn't dare to do anything. "Let's go," Tang Poyu said to Gu Xiaoxiao. "Okay." Gu Xiaoxiao nodded and followed behind Tang Poyu. They left the mining area. "Where are we going?" Gu Xiaoxiao asked. Tang Poyu did not answer Gu Xiaoxiao's question directly, but asked, "What is your adventure level?" Gu Xiaoxiao replied, "Level E. E rank. That means we can take on D rank bounty quests. Let's go to Cardona City and pick up a few bounty quests from the Adventurers Guild there," Tang Poyu said. Gu Xiaoxiao nodded and said, "No problem." Gu Xiaoxiao is currently fine. She listens to Tang Poyu. However, what Gu Xiaoxiao needs to do now is to get a replacement spirit control terminal. Tang Poyu and Gu Xiaoxiao rode Mingyu to Cardona City. Gu Xiaoxiao was both excited and nervous throughout the journey, as it was her first time riding a giant dragon through the sky. With Mingyu's flying speed, they quickly arrived at Cardona City. Gu Xiaoxiao went to get her spirit control terminal replaced. Replacing a spirit control terminal can be done in any major city in any country. It's just that replacing it abroad is more expensive, but Tang Poyu paid for it. Since she didn't have the spirit control terminal, she couldn't confirm Gu Xiaoxiao's identity, and therefore couldn't accept any commissions. After the spirit control terminal was replaced, it was already afternoon. Tang Poyu said, "Let's rest for today. Tomorrow we'll go and take a look at the Adventurers Guild." Although Gu Xiaoxiao could accept missions directly on the spirit control terminal, D-level extermination was simply too low a level for Tang Poyu, as the monsters he was exterminating were all under level 100. So Tang Poyu decided to go to the Adventurers Guild to see if he could join someone else's team. For Tang Poyu, his goal was simply to obtain the 3 cores as soon as possible. Afterwards, Tang Poyu took Gu Xiaoxiao to a hotel to stay in. At night, Tang Poyu was in his room when he, Mingyu, and Tang Kongkong entered the beast breeding island. First, Tang Poyu checked his points. Having 34,370 points looks really good. Next, Tang Poyu began exchanging map fragments. 1,000 points for fragments, and 9 fragments can be combined to form a complete map. So, I can exchange for about 4 complete maps. The number of points needed won't be too much. I can get enough points by doing 2 raid missions tomorrow. Tang Poyu couldn't wait to exchange the map fragments. However, after he changed the fragment, he realized something was wrong. Because the cost of the fragments has increased to 2,000 when you redeem them again. Damn, no way. Tang Poyu muttered under his breath, then picked up another card. Immediately afterwards, the price of map fragments changed to 3,000 points. What the hell? You can do this? Are you kidding me? Tang Poyu was speechless. Every exchange cost an extra 1,000 points. In that case, the first map would require 45,000 points. It was said that you could exchange about 4 complete maps with the points you have, but now it seems that you don't even have enough for one. The most terrifying thing is that the second map alone requires 126,000 points. The third map requires 207,000 points, and he doesn't even dare to calculate the rest. At this rate, the points required later on are terrifying. Tang Poyu felt his scalp tingle. As expected, obtaining a mythical beast is not so easy. It seems that Tang Poyu still misses the old missions that rewarded map fragments. The points exchange is a trap. Since these points couldn't be exchanged for a complete map, Tang Poyu decided to exchange them for fragments of the sky's memory and fragments of the Earth's memory first. Tang Poyu also wanted to see what these 2 things were used for. Tang Poyu just used 3,000 of the 9,999 points, leaving him with 31,370 points. As the memory fragments in the sky were exchanged, a 7-colored ball of light appeared in front of Tang Poyu. The next second, the 7-colored ball of light flew directly into Mingyu's mind. Mingyu felt a wave of dizziness. Then she shook her head vigorously, but some fragments of images appeared in her mind. But these fragmented images don't remind her of anything at all. How does it feel? Tang Poyu asked. Mingyu replied. There were some strange scenes like I was fighting. The opponent was a dark, indistinct mass. I don't know what it was. However, it seems like I've mastered a skill. Skill? Tang Poyu quickly checked Mingyu's information. Name, Sky Dragon Mingyu. Race, Ancient Dragon. Attribute, Thunder. Bloodline, Divine Beast level. Grade. Attributes, Strength, Agility, Defense 9999. Skills, God. Regeneration, Thunderous Fury. Enhanced Defense, Absolute Defense, Dragon Scale Armor, Hardened Dragon Scales, God. Yin-Yang Reversal. Master, Tang Poyu. Good heavens, he really has mastered a new divine skill. Yin-Yang Reversal, when used on himself, swaps his strength and defense attributes for 10 seconds. When used on a contractor or another of their contracted summoned beasts, it grants immunity to all damage for 5 seconds, essentially making them invincible for 5 seconds. When used on targets other than the contractor and other contracted summons of the contractor, the target will be attacked by the skill that was last used by the contractor. Simply put, there are 3 effects. When used on yourself, your strength and defense attributes are swapped for 10 seconds. 10 seconds may seem short, but with 9999 strength after the swap, 10 seconds is enough to kill most enemies. The second effect, simply put, can only be used on Tang Poyu and his contracted summoned beast, granting 5 seconds of invincibility. In short, it's invincibility. The third type is used against enemies, causing them to be attacked by a skill that you previously used. This skill can only be used once a day, but the 3 effects have independent cooldowns. In other words, each of the 3 effects can be used individually once a day. In short, this is an undeniably divine skill. Mastering this divine skill granted Mingyu terrifying combat abilities. She's no longer a defenseless little girl. Now she can deal 9,999 damage in a single strike. The fragments of memory in the sky allowed Mingyu to comprehend such a divine skill, which made Tang Poyu begin to look forward to what skills Tang Kong could comprehend. Tang Poyu then quickly exchanged for fragments of Earth's memory. As the exchange was completed, a pale purple orb of light appeared in front of Tang Poyu. The next second, the ball of light flew into Tang Kong's head. Chapter 66, Please come and take me away. How are you? Have you changed at all? Tang Poyu asked Tang Kong. Tang Kong replied, It seems there are some scattered fragments of memories, but they can't be pieced together into a complete memory, so I don't know what kind of memory it is. As for skills, it seems I've also mastered one. Upon hearing that Tang Kong had also mastered a skill, Tang Poyu couldn't wait to check Tang Kong's information. Name, Void Beast Tang Kong. Race, Phantom God Race. Attribute, Space. Bloodline, Divine Beast Level. Level 8. Attributes, Strength 450, Agility 450, Defense 450. Skills, Spatial Displacement, Divine Domain, Spatial Cutting of the 9 Netherworlds, Spatial Blade. Master, Tang Poyu. Tang Kong has gained 2 more skills, but the space cutting skill is from Juyo. In other words, the fragments of the Earth's memory only gave Tang Kong a regular spatial blade skill, not a divine skill. It's not bad, at least in terms of spatial skills. The spatial blade can be used for ranged attacks without being held, and it's fast. Compared to most spatial skills, which suffer from slow speed and low accuracy, spatial blade has a relatively high accuracy. Haha, she only has a normal skill. Haha, as expected, I am still the best. La 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 la. Seeing that Tang Kong only has a normal skill, Mingyu was very proud. Tang Poyu tapped Mingyu on the head and said, What are you so smug about? At this moment, Tang Poyu looked at the exchange interface to see if the memory fragments could be exchanged repeatedly. However, to Tang Poyu's dismay, the fragments of the sky's memory became the sky's source of power, requiring 99,999 points. The fragments of the Earth's memory have also become the Earth's soul feathers, requiring the same 99,999 points. Goodness, that's more than 10 times the original price. However, judging from the value of the points, the power source of the sky and the soul feather of the Earth should be more effective than the memory fragments. It is unknown what they will gain after using them. I don't have enough points now, too. That's 200,000 points. Tang Poyu only has a little over 10,000 points left, and he plans to use the remaining points to exchange for a complete map. After all, the next map costs 45,000 points, and he has already exchanged 2 fragments, so he only needs 42,000 points for the rest. By then, he would have 3 divine beasts. If Tang Kong repaired the iron armor, silver armor, and gold armor, then with the 3 divine beasts and 3 powerful puppets, his combat power would be enough to not be able to sweep across the continent, but at least he could walk sideways. Mingyu focuses on defense, while Tang Kong focuses on offense. Although Tang Kong's stats are average, her spatial attribute makes her an offensive summon. After all, most space-based attack skills ignore defense, so it would be a waste not to use them for offense. Tang Poyu felt that if the next divine beast could be controlled, then the combination of these 3 would be perfect, and it would be even more perfect if there were auxiliary beasts later on. Of course, he's just thinking about it now, since he doesn't know what kind of mythical beast will appear later. Let's go find some unlucky guy to test my skills on. Haha, I finally have an attack. I need to find someone to practice on. Mingyu said, waving his fists. Tang Poyu said, Stop being so boring, okay? Go out and find some unlucky guy. We can't attack others for no reason. Let's go. The security situation in Qatar is terrible. Walking outside at night, it's easy to run into some clueless thieves who will rob you, Mingyu said. In fact, Tang Poyu also wanted to see how effective Mingyu's skill was. So he said, Okay, go out and take a look, but let me tell you, don't cause trouble, don't provoke any problems. Okay. Oh, so you've learned to use okay too, Tang Poyu said. Tang Poyu led Mingyu and Tang Kong out of the beast breeding island. They then walked out of the hotel together. It's very quiet here in Qatar at night, even though this is the main city. Unlike Dongyao, where not only the capital city, but also the 4 major cities in the east, west, north, and south are brightly lit at night. The area is so quiet at night, partly due to its slightly underdeveloped economy, and partly due to security issues. Let alone people from other countries who come to Qatar, Even locals rarely dare to go out at night. There are many beast tamers here who have formed an organization that makes a living by robbery. Every night, the members of this organization begin their operations. Qatar's official authorities have no way to deal with this behavior. So over time, this organization was implicitly accepted as legitimate. The only recourse the authorities could offer was to advise people to avoid going out at night. Hey friend, it's dangerous to go out at night. Tang Poyu was warned by the guards outside the inn as soon as he arrived at the entrance. In places like this with poor security, hotels need to be equipped with guards. Tang Poyu asked, "This is Cardona City, the main city of Qatar. Is it dangerous here?" The guard was somewhat embarrassed. After all, the security in his own country's main city was so bad, he was indeed a little ashamed. The guard said, "It's a bit unsafe at night. Foreign tourists, like, you should try not to go out at night. If anything happens inside the hotel, we'll be responsible. But if you go out and something happens, we won't be responsible." Tang Poyu chuckled and patted the guard on the shoulder, saying, "Don't worry, brother. Your inn won't be responsible. We're just going out for a stroll, and we'll be back soon." With that, Tang Poyu left with Mingyu and Tang Kongkong. Watching Tang Poyu's departing figure, the guard shook his head and sighed, saying, "He won't listen to advice. He'll regret it later. Ugh, so annoying. Why is nobody here? I'm itching to be robbed. Someone rob me. I have money. I have tons of money. Hey, is anyone here? Please just rob me." After walking for a while, Mingyu actually started shouting. She really wanted to try out her new skill, so she actually shouted that someone was coming to steal her away. Tang Poyu was speechless. This scumbag dragon. Can you even make a normal request? Who begs someone to steal them from him? However, Mingyu's shout seemed to actually work. Just then, several figures approached Tang Poyu and his group. Soon, figures appeared, and 3 middle-aged men blocked Tang Poyu and his group's path. "So it's you guys who were making a fuss, aren't you? You want to be robbed so badly? Well, fine, I'll grant your wish." Seeing the 3 people ahead, Mingyu's eyes lit up, and he said excitedly, "Look, they're so obedient. The punching bag is here." As he spoke, Mingyu even blew on his fist. Chapter 67, I Am a Little Dragon Girl. To be honest, Mingyu's actions left all 3 of them completely bewildered. In the past, when they robbed tourists from other places, the tourists would become very obedient after seeing them. But what I encountered today seems a bit off. "Boss, something's not right. Look at those 2 women. One has dragon horns and a dragon tail, and the other has scale horns. They don't seem human. Could they be summoned beasts?" One of the men said to the man in the middle, "What are you afraid of? You're talking as if we don't have any summoned beasts. Come out, a giant water crocodile." At the man's command, a 3-meter-long, ferocious-looking crocodile was summoned. "You 2 hurry up and summon your summoned beasts. If we're going to compare numbers, we have more than them." "Boss, putting aside their bloodline levels, the summoned beasts of those 2 are far superior to ours in terms of racial level alone. Shall we leave?" With a slap, the man who was taken away slapped the man who had spoken. "What's there to be afraid of? We have 3 summoned beasts. We can outnumber them." It has to be said that this underling is quite intelligent. This is the first time Tang Poyu has ever seen such a clever villain. Unfortunately, his boss wasn't very bright. The man who had been slapped didn't dare say anything more and summoned his summoned beast. A thunderbird, and another person summoned a 5-meter-long centipede. Tang Poyu checked the 3 summoned beasts using the spirit control terminal. They were level 72, 65, and 59 respectively, all with rare bloodlines. "Boss, I still feel something's not right. The information about those 2 summoned beasts is hidden." The man said again at this moment, "You talk too much nonsense. Watch how I deal with them. Go, giant water crocodile, use death bite." With a roar, the giant water crocodile swiftly crawled towards Tang Poyu and his companions. Don't be fooled by the giant water crocodile's appearance into thinking it's clumsy and slow-moving. But in reality, it moved very fast. It was about 10 meters away from Tang Poyu, but in the blink of an eye, it had arrived in front of Tang Poyu. At this moment, the giant crocodile pounced, ready to tear it apart. God, Yin and Yang reversed. At this moment, Mingyu cast the Yin-Yang reversal effect on himself. The next second, Mingyu moved. She stepped forward and slapped the giant water crocodile that pounced on her. With a loud slap, the giant water crocodile was struck. The next second, the giant water crocodile was slapped into a bloody mist without even making a sound. Tang Poyu had not expected such an effect. He felt that after the power and defense were switched, Mingyu's slap might instantly kill the giant water crocodile. But he never expected that this was not just an instant kill, but a direct slap that turned him into a bloody mist. It should be noted that the giant water crocodile has a tough body, making it a semi-defensive summon. As a result, this summoned beast was slapped into a bloody mist. Congratulations on defeating the summoned beast giant water crocodile. Reward: 864 points. My giant water crocodile. At that moment, the guy suddenly knelt on the ground, snot and tears streaming down his face. Upon seeing this, the two henchmen called to their summoned beasts and turned to run away. However, at this moment, Tang Kong Kong made a move. God, Divine Domain, Space Blade. As the Divine Realm unfolded, spatial blades attacked from all directions. Originally, there was only one spatial blade, but under the Divine Realm, countless spatial blades attacked. With such density, summoned beasts that were not agile simply had no way to dodge. Each spatial blade leaves a spatial rift in its path. The next second, the Thunderbird and the Centipede were hit by several spatial blades. The space-type ability to ignore defense was utilized, and the two summoned beasts were instantly cut into pieces. Their fragments fell directly into the spatial rift left by the spatial blade. Then the spatial rift closed, and the two summoned beasts vanished without a trace, as if they had never existed. No, it belongs to my summoned beast. No, Centipede. The two henchmen also collapsed to the ground, groaning in pain. Congratulations on defeating the summoned beast Azure Thunderbird. Reward: 780 points. Congratulations on defeating the summoned beast Centipede. Reward: 708 points. Did you see that? I am awesome. Mingyu ran up to Tang Poyu and said smugly. Tang Poyu looked at Mingyu in front of him, his arrogance reaching its peak. It's exploded. Tang Poyu said calmly. You're like a heifer riding an airplane, all high and mighty. I'm not a heifer, I'm a dragon. Yes, you've ascended to heaven like a dragon. Go back and rest. Tang Poyu then ignored the three guys. With their summoned beast dead, the three were essentially crippled. Guys like them who make a living by robbing will have a miserable life after their summoned beast dies. Therefore, killing them directly would be a relatively easy relief for them. Not killing them is the beginning of their suffering. Back at the inn, Tang Poyu lay on the bed and told Mingyu and Tang Kong Kong to go to the island to rest. The houses on the island are now well maintained and have all sorts of amenities, making them much more comfortable than typical small hotels. Of course, Tang Poyu would not go to the island to rest under normal circumstances, unless he was not traveling with anyone else. Because if he's traveling with someone, and that person needs to find him, they won't be able to reach him. Tonight, Tang Poyu also gained a certain understanding of the combat power of Mingyu's new skills. The destructive power was terrifying, and that was only after she casually slapped him. If the Thunder Fury were used directly, its destructive power would probably be even more terrifying. As for Tang Kong Kong, although he only obtained an ordinary skill, its destructive power was still quite terrifying under the blessing of the Divine Realm. The next morning, knock knock knock, Tang Poyu was awakened by a knock on the door. After getting up, Tang Poyu dressed, opened the door, and Gu Xiaoxiao was standing outside. So early, Tang Poyu asked. Gu Xiaoxiao said, I've come to call you for breakfast. Tang Poyu laughed and said, You're not afraid that I'll leave alone, are you? Ooh, no. Gu Xiaoxiao felt a little guilty. In fact, she was actually a little afraid that Tang Poyu would leave quietly without paying attention to her. Don't worry, I said I'd take you back to Dongyao, and I will. Besides, you've already replaced your spirit control terminal, so you can go back on your own. Furthermore, I need you to come and supervise the mining operations. How could I possibly leave you behind? By the way, how's your summoned beast recovering? Tang Poyu asked. Gu Xiaoxiao nodded and said, Thank you for the recovery medicine you gave me yesterday. I just summoned it and checked, and I have almost recovered. All right, let's go have breakfast and then check out the Adventurers Guild. Chapter 68, I've latched onto a powerful figure. At breakfast, only Tang Poyu, Tang Kong Kong, and Gu Xiaoxiao were present. Mingyu was still fast asleep. The island had everything she needed. There was plenty to eat, so she was too lazy to come out. After breakfast, they headed to the Adventurers Guild. Tang Poyu still put a hat on Tang Kong Kong to make it difficult for her to be recognized as a summoned beast. Looking at Tang Kong Kong wearing the hat, Gu Xiaoxiao couldn't help but ask, Are she and Mingyu both divine beasts? I checked with the spirit control terminal and found that you've hidden their information. Gu Xiaoxiao wasn't sure if Mingyu and Tang Kong were divine beasts. After all, divine beasts were extremely rare. 99% of people might never see a divine beast in their lifetime. It's illogical that Tang Poyu could return two divine beasts at once. Yes, Tang Poyu replied calmly. After receiving a definite answer from Tang Poyu, Gu Xiaoxiao was so surprised she couldn't close her mouth. Can I see their information? I've never actually seen a mythical beast before, Gu Xiaoxiao said. Honestly, before she could see Mingyu and Tang Kong's information through the spirit control terminal, she still couldn't believe they were two divine beasts. I'll share it with you, but keep it a secret after you've seen it, Tang Poyu said. Gu Xiaoxiao nodded. Tang Poyu then shared Mingyu and Tang Kong's information with Gu Xiaoxiao for her to review. After checking the information, Gu Xiaoxiao simply couldn't believe it was true. A divine beast? It really was a divine beast. However, Mingyu's information is strange. Why is there so much hidden information? And what's with this 9,999 defense? Tang Kong shocked her even more. He was only level 8. Yet, level 8 attributes were already so terrifying, and he easily killed a summoned beast that was over level 100. Unbeknownst to her, Tang Kong was only level 3 when she killed the Xuanhua demon tiger. Is this what a divine beast is like? Even with a difference of over 100 levels, it can easily kill its opponent. This is the power of a divine beast, Gu Xiaoxiao said calmly. Let's go. Remember to keep it a secret, Tang Poyu said to Gu Xiaoxiao, who was in a daze. It's just information about the summoned beasts, so it doesn't matter if others know it. Otherwise, the spirit control terminal wouldn't have the function to publicly display summoned beast information. Tang Poyu simply didn't want too many people to know about their divine beast identities, since having two divine beasts would easily attract attention. The reason I'm telling Gu Xiaoxiao now is because she was too close to Tang Kong during the fight, and she heard Tang Kong use a divine skill. Instead of letting her keep guessing, it's better to just tell her directly and ask her to keep it a secret from now on. This way, she won't keep speculating and cause more chain reactions. I know. Gu Xiaoxiao suddenly burst out laughing. Why are you suddenly grinning like that? Tang Poyu asked. Gu Xiaoxiao replied. You could say that being tricked into coming here is a blessing in disguise because I've managed to latch onto your coattails. At 16, I already have two summoned beasts, both divine beasts, and I get 10% of the mining profits. So it seems like I've really struck gold this time. After hearing this, Tang Poyu said, Don't think that being scammed will lead to something good. Be more careful in the future. If you get scammed again, I might not be there for you. Gu Xiaoxiao quickly shook her head and said, No, I won't fall for that again. Let's go to the Adventurers Guild. Tang Poyu and Gu Xiaoxiao arrived at the Adventurers Guild. The adventure guilds in Kata are much smaller than those in Dongyao. And this is Qatar's main city. Tang Poyu said to Gu Xiaoxiao, see what kind of raiding missions you can get at your level. Make sure the target level is above 200. Upon hearing this, Gu Xiaoxiao said, Level 200? How is that possible? I can only accept D-rank subjugation quests, and D-rank subjugation monsters are only around level 50 or 60. Summoned beasts above level 200 require at least A-rank subjugation. If I take on a D-rank raid now, how long will it take to reach B-rank adventure level? Gu Xiaoxiao thought for a moment. With your abilities, you'll complete the task quickly once you accept it. If we're close, and we do 5 times a day without rest, it should take about 1 or 2 years to reach rank B. Tang Poyu remained silent. Actually, if you want to level up quickly and take on higher level quests, there's an easy way. Gu Xiaoxiao saw through Tang Poyu's intentions. He just wanted to take on high-level raid quests. What method? Find someone to guide you. What's the meaning? Find a high-level adventurer to guide you. They accept the quest, we form a team, and our names are recorded in the quest log. This way, we'll get a lot of adventure experience from a high-level quest. After about 3 to 5 A-level quests, our adventure rank will reach B level. Of course, we'll have to pay them, and it won't be cheap. Tang Poyu understood immediately after Gu Xiaoxiao said that. Wasn't this just like the games he used to play? Taking money to carry the boss. However, this is indeed a good method. Money is nothing to Tang Poyu. After all, he now owns a mine. Moreover, once his adventure level increases, he will be able to take on high-level quests on his own, and he won't need anyone to guide him anymore. Good idea, Tang Poyu said. Go over there. There are people there who charge for taking people. Gu Xiaoxiao called Tang Poyu and they came to one side of the hall. At this time, Several teams are looking for owners. Tang Poyu asked loudly, "Does anyone have an A-level or higher rating mission? The target must be level 200 or higher." Upon hearing Tang Poyu say this, someone immediately stepped forward and asked, "Yes, can you afford to pay?" "How much?" Tang Poyu asked. "If it's just for adventure experience, it'll cost 200,000 spirit coins per person. All rewards from the raid quests are ours, and we keep all the corpses after defeating the targets. You can't take anything, but you don't have to do anything either. Just follow along and gain experience." "What if I want a corpse?" Tang Poyu asked. "If you want a body, add 2 million. Okay, for the two of us, that's 2.4 million, right? Right? Wait a minute." Gu Xiaoxiao said, "I won't join a team. If I join, I'll take away some of the adventure experience. It's useless for me to increase my adventure level, so 2.2 million is fine. Little sister, you can choose not to join the group, but if you go with us, we can't